Hey everyone, good morning. Happy Friday. Hope everybody had a great holiday. Getting back on track. Everything is, you know, exhausting. I don't know about anybody else, but soon as like Christmas ends, I'm just exhausted. I am mentally, emotionally, physically just exhausted. But I haven't been live. I've missed all of you, and I figured let's go ahead and let's go live. Let's go and acknowledge what is happening, what is going on, what these people don't understand, the way the legal process works, both criminally and civilly, is almost embarrassing. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It really is. It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing that people who claim to be true crime don't even understand the basics of the legal system. It's actually scary, quite frankly. But let's go ahead and say good morning to all of you. Thank you for all being here in the chat this morning. I appreciate you. AT, my girlfriend. Wait, maybe I'm not going to. I was going to scroll back up, but man, you guys have been chatting this morning. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Jinx, Vanessa, Marley, Rose of Sharon, Vanessa, Stassi, Steph, Opal. Good to see you. Marley, Captain, Ellie, Kelly, FSU, Hummingbird, Tracy, Lazy Wolf, Sue, AT again. Hey, Kels, Bayou, Jojo, Earth Angel, Happy Beach, Lyra, Snazzy again, Teresa, Christy, WYS, Darlin Tammy, Nicole G, Miss Melissa, Lip Lock No Mo, Peekaboo, Newfie, Kelly. Oh, thank you, Soya. I appreciate you coming out of the bushes and saying hello. Hey, Electro, Feisty Nana. I haven't been live, Jinx. Yeah, I haven't been live, so you didn't miss them. Hey, Bees Knees, Shauna, Proud Mimi, Pretty in Pink, Lollies, Tammy Moore. Good morning, new kid in town. I'm finally catching back down. Hey, Mrs. In My Opinion, Romana, Toe Beans, and Eeyore Blues, Shelly M, Grammy's Place, Eliza, Miss Liverbird, Jill E, Crafty Girl, Toby's Mom, Mimi, me, Billy Sunday, Chrisit, Gammy, Debbie from Detroit, Cotton Candy, Miss Jess, good morning. Iwan Toe, good morning, Tinkerbug. Okay. Irish Eyes, Lady Tiger Official. I think I got everybody. Nicole G, T Nice, Kay Loves Coffee, Colleen C, good morning. Jennifer, Gentrex, Kenneby, Tina, Phoenix, good morning to you. Hurt Locker, Gemini Eyes, Crystal Burns, Sasha. All right. I think Purple Haze, Danny. Listen, if I missed you, I do apologize. As you all know, I appreciate all of you, but I don't want to spend the, first 15 minutes saying good morning to everybody. Just know you are truly appreciated and seen. One Red Rose with the 29 months. Thank you so much, One Red. Through it all, you've been here. Eliza, thank you for the gifted membership. And Billy Sunday coming in with the 31 months strong. Holy shit. That's like as long as I've been monetized. You guys are amazing. I am, seriously. Thank you all so much. Lucia, thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Hey, Megan, good morning. Back row with the 35 months. Whew. Don't make me get emotional because I'm not. All right? I'm not. It's too early. I don't feel like being mushy. You guys better knock it off right now. Bat Brat, knock it off. But seriously, you're sincerely appreciated, all of you. Thank you. Hey, Patricia. Lip Lock, thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Crystal Burns. So as some of you know, my attorneys actually filed the other day. They filed on the 23rd. With everything going on with the holiday and all the other crap, I didn't go live about it. I was waiting. And yeah, I mean, listen, the holidays are hard enough, right? I don't know about any of you, but I get like the seasonal, the holiday depression. It's overwhelming. It's all the things. So I needed a few days, and here we are. Here we are today. Sasha, thank you so much. A full year. I can't thank you all enough. My channel had a milestone the other day, and I'm not going to tell you how many members, but I was floored. I was absolutely floored. So I thank you all sincerely for the support, and there's been many times, many attempts to pretty much chase me off this platform, and it hasn't worked, and it won't work because of all of you. So thank you all for being here, for lifting me up, and just being amazing. Seriously, thank you. Colleen C with the 31 months, no crying. Oh, you're amazing. Thank you. JLR Superfan. Hey, Crystal Burns. Thank you so much for that. Hey, Agent. Hello, Winnie. Cinda Kane. I'm in the airport and my flight got pushed back. Oh, well, I'm sorry it got pushed back, but I hope you have safe travels and enjoy wherever you're going. That's amazing. New kid in town. Thank you. All right, so, oh my gosh, you guys keep it coming. Crystal with the 34 months. I mean, literally, that is day one. No, it isn't, because Ma comes in with the 36. Holy shit, how have you people been here this long? All right, stop it. I told you all. Oh, shit. All right. It truly is amazing, though. I'm blown away by it. Absolutely blown away. Thank you. All the attempts from, so-called quote-unquote friends, and the spilling a big bad granny behind the scenes, that where they try to act like, they didn't publicly do things to get a private, not meant for them response. It's amazing to see so many of you have stayed through so many of those attempts to sabotage. But the latest one really just, I don't even know I do know where that shit came from. But I'm not going to disparage them, because they have clear issues going on, and quite frankly, I pray for them. I do. It's me, Tiffany. Thank you so much. Can it be? Thank you. Titanium, it has been a year. Thank you. All right, move it along before you all get me mushy. We're not going to be mushy. I am going to plead the fifth on my emotions. Can we talk about that really quick? Can we talk about that? To say somebody has pled the fifth when they don't owe you shit. Who she plead the fifth with? The police? Did she plead the fifth on the non-existent stand? Where was the fifth pled? Because that's not the way this works. It's just not the way. I know these people so badly want to be investigators. They want to be police officers. They're going to kick in doors and arrest people. But that's not the way any of this works. Now, unless I am misunderstanding something, I don't even understand where they're claiming she said this, they're claiming she pled it to. If she pled it to at night by saying, like, hey, I'm not going to talk to you, well, then does not plead in the fifth. So maybe it's on their dockets for today and we'll understand. I don't know. Megan VR, that is definitely not accurate. Thank you. Thank you. You were in here the first day I went live ever. So what is that? Do people even know where that's coming from? You can't see pristine. No, not pleading the fifth on the YouTube crime streets. How dare she? Right, like, where's that coming from? Hey, Sayward. Live Live, she said, call Ali. Right, that's not pleading the fifth. They're saying Katie Proudfoot, goody two shoes. Holly, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Thank you. Oh, okay, I apologize. I didn't clarify myself. So the latest rumor amongst these streets, I guess the latest on the docket, is that Katie Proudfoot pled the fifth. Hey, Buckeye. To who? Who did she plead the fifth to? I don't understand it. I mean, I don't know. If they're talking about where she says in response to their weird message about if you need help, respond with the number 2 and delete this message, and she responded back, call the police. It's not pleading the fifth. I mean, no, little banana boat. I am not. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Thank you so much, Wah. Thank you so much. I don't know. Whatever. You can't pleading the fifth is like you do that when you're on the stand, you do that when you're being interrogated. You don't do that like with police, with actual people that are capable of finalizing an arrest. They don't. They aren't. I don't get it. That was following SF Twitter post. They had to retaliate. Nick's non-existent courtroom putting out that Katie pled the fifth, but to who? So it was misinformation. That woman stays putting out weird shit, misinformed shit, disinformation, if you will. Wow, thank you again. And they all run with it. And I think that's the biggest problem of it all, is that they all run with it. They don't stop to verify it because you know why? It sounds good. It sounds juicy. So they just, no care, no concern. That's now titles. We're going to go ahead and say, woo. Yeah, Kira, I actually went over that as well. We went over that over on Queens, and it's not satellite photos, but these people still eat it up. Straight Talker, thank you for taking a moment to hit the thumbs up. If you haven't, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up, and let's get this started. Hey, Jamie, it's a distraction, B-Fam. It's an absolute distraction. It's a way to dehumanize and condemn somebody based off feelings. It drives me nuts. We don't know at the end of the day. We don't know if they are guilty or not. Even if they were arrested, we still wouldn't know if they're guilty because they have their right to innocence until proven guilty. And that goes for Seth as well. It goes for everybody. But whatever they have to say and make up and fabricate and spread just to feel better about themselves, just to justify their unfathomable hate towards somebody they don't know. Which leads me over to here really quick, because I found this to be very interesting because a lot of people have argued this. And I see that they're now going back to the 23rd. So they're going back to February 23rd. We all know Sebastian reportedly on all of the professional papers that matter, it states that he was last seen February 26th. And it's worded weird, right? Doesn't say he was last seen at his home in Hendersonville. It says he was last seen in the area of Stratford Court. So if you look at this person took the time to actually message, the TBI. And this is what they say. Hi, can you please tell me if Sebastian Rogers was last seen on February 26th or last seen on February 25th? Many of us are trying to figure out the true facts and not listen to gossip, so I wanted to get the information straight from you. Thank you so very much. Automated response will respond to you. Sebastian Rogers was last seen February 26th. Well, Jamie, she only sees dollar signs, so I'm so sorry you feel that way, but I'm so glad you know that doesn't happen here. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Music City. Good morning, Turning Leaves. Good morning, Caroline. Barking at the moon. Betty says she saw in the chat, so it's true. Oh, gosh, I'm not even... How are you going to put in a filing? How are you going to put in a filing that one time I was on a panel and I said probably instead of possibly? A literal 15-second conversation out of 5 hours. You're going to try to put that in a filing, okay? That I said that there's a possibility based off what Seth Rogers has told us about Chris Proudfoot, not only not wanting Sebastian around his daughter allegedly, but also the idea that Chris Proudfoot's mother messaged Seth's mother and said, your son is a predator. Okay. So I, based off of those, clues, those comments, I make a literal 15-second statement in which they put in their filing. But you got Betty over there saying that there is a possibility that Sebastian on his own mother, your plaintiff. Ooh. And then she went into the possibility of, run the same line that you're trying to take me to court over. So yeah, I can't wait to see you there. I can't wait to see you there. This is a Facebook Messenger over to the TBI. The person who wrote it is very well known in the Sebastian Rogers group. We've all stated, we have all known, because Katie says she last saw him, when she sent him to bed. So it can't be off of Katie's word. Cannot be off of Katie's word. Makes you wonder. Were those sightings, hey, Life or Wine, I don't know who runs it, Brittany. Were those sightings, one of them true? Give me just a moment, my friends. Hold on. Well, there's that. Good morning to you. Hey, Air Force vet. I didn't see you come in. Good morning. All right. So, little mama. Yeah. Yeah. Just rolled out of bed and W2H. I know. Imagine trying to take somebody to court and take away their right to speech and to base an opinion when your own plaintiff is saying worse, right? Am I right? I am right. I am right. I don't even need you all to tell me I am. Hey, Jay Jones. I'm still aware, staying from day 3. I've always thought Sebastian will be home the 26th February. I've said that from, ew, that would be weird. That would be scary. All right. Wow. Okay. It is wrong. It is wrong of all of them. Katie pled the 5th. So let's get into what we are here for. You guys ready? Let's get the thumbs up. Let's hit the thumbs up. And let's get into this filing. SS has been screaming, police sewn him in the morning of, and he ran. Well, yeah, there is that. If you listen to the dispatch, you hear a lot of things, a lot of very interesting things. Like a neighborhood kid who was just looking, a neighborhood kid who seemed to be everywhere. Hey, Gina, the red ruby. I'm just making up names for you guys now. I'm sorry. Good morning, Kimberly. All right, so London Storm, thank you. Captain Ganja with the number 4. London Storm came in with the 277. Yeah, there's been a lot of crap going on here. It's kind of sad. It's not kind of sad. It's actually really sad. It's really sad that people decide that they're going to come in and make so many distractions. Hey, Pristine, drive carefully. Yeah, neighborhood kid that just so happens to be Bobby's kid. Bobby seems to come up a lot. Put a 1 in the chat if you think Bobby has come up a lot for just a neighbor. There's a lot of things pertaining to Bobby. A lot of early on, you know how Adnight's putting this BS, like early on distractions. I can't think of a bigger distraction early on than Bobby Binoculars herself. From the speculation, the inconsistencies, to literally, matter of fact, let me put this up, to literally stopping and asking questions and her children following along, her words, following along with the canines. What type of professional canine handler is going to allow the distraction of a civilian as they are conducting? Because, call it what it is. There is an investigation. They are looking for this child, and they're going to allow such a distraction as somebody's children to be following the law. Why were they so closely involved? What were you trying to see? Oh, I don't know. I guess I don't know. All right, let me see if this sent to myself. Found this screenshot to be very interesting because I forgot about it. I don't know if any of you recall, but early on, Bobby, she reminds me of Betty, was all over these Facebook groups, including a page of her own that was started the day after Sebastian Rogers disappeared. The 27th, not the 25th, not the 26th, the 27th. And she was making statements like, we are tired of the traffic. And I just couldn't fathom if a child was missing in my neighborhood that I'd be tired of the traffic. Like the first week, okay? The first week of this child disappearing, Bobby is annoyed with the traffic. She didn't mind adding to the traffic, but boy, was she annoyed with the traffic. Now, give me just a second. All right, so check this out. This comes from Bobby. Early on, Bobby left. Now, this is half of her comment. I'm going to go grab the originals, right? But do you all recall when Bobby stated that her friend was driving their children to school that morning, and they saw Katie out front, and they said to Katie, "What is all the commotion?" And this woman tried to state that Katie, during a high panic moment, while this woman is trying to get her kids to school, held a full conversation and gave her breakdown of her day. Instead of just saying, my son is missing and we can't find him, Bobby wanted us to believe that instead, Katie said, well, yesterday I took my son out and we went here and we went there and we went there. And then at night, I was reading in a book and I said, get to bed, and I heard it bang and blah, blah, blah. It's not even realistic. Play it through your heads. It is not logical to believe that somebody gave a stranger with a car full of children an entire breakdown of their day instead of saying, I can't find my son. But anyway, so Bobby, not only, but she finds this weird. She saw the police when she went to take her kids to school. She stopped and asked what happened. Katie told her. She told Sebastian to go to bed around 9. She fell asleep on the couch, never mentioning the conversation between her and Chris. So Katie tells this stranger, I fell asleep on the couch last night, but I told Sebastian to go to bed around 9, but I felt it doesn't make sense. And then to add in, to make it sound suspicious, that Katie didn't tell this stranger, this neighbor with a car of kids, I was on the phone with my husband for 3 hours. Like, no, there's a reason why early on Bobby was making these accusations. She was laying the foundation for the speculation. Exactly, Charm and Jenna. So she says, never mentions the conversation between her and Chris. Woke up around 11:30, went in to check on Sebastian, which she previously says she didn't do anymore now that he's older. I think she's full of crap. Where did we ever hear this? That she woke up around 11:30, we're supposed to believe that she's telling all of this to a neighbor as her lawn is covered in police. He must have been awake because his light was on, according to the neighbor's ring camera. She says she told Sebastian to go to bed. You get the point. Bobby was very early on making a narrative. a silhouette as she was going to bed. It doesn't make sense, man. I'm sorry. It doesn't. Nobody's sitting there having that type of conversation in the AM as you're trying to get your kids to school and your lawn's covered with police. Hey, Lauren, thank you. Hair Sour says, hey, Savannah. I think Bobby's just a nosy, gossipy neighbor. I know one of those, and they dig into everyone's business. Most of the time, they're wrong. I personally would brush it off as just a nosy neighbor if she wasn't so overly involved in setting a certain narrative. And then on top of that, we know that Bobby had her children following around canines. It's just weird. And then Bobby made the weird statement about the police cleaning their boots in her driveway. All of it's weird. Never believed the neighbor seen a silhouette. Well, it is my personal belief that is true. That Sebastian, I do believe that Sebastian is caught on camera peeking out of his bedroom window that night. After it is shown by the lights going out that Katie went to bed. I do believe that. Katie said 9 p.m. Sebastian went to bed at 10 p.m. She heard a thud, said to Sebastian, I don't know what you're doing in there, but you better get to bed. He replied, yes, ma'am, and Katie went to sleep, 12 a.m. I don't know, it's all weird. It's all weird. But she's pleading the fifth to the YouTube, so watch out. That means she's even more guilty. When you listen to the Flashlight Game from podcast Seth was watching with Sebastian, it's creepy. Very, what, the creepy pastas? Good sign he was looking for someone. There's that possibility. To drop their scent, in my opinion, now there is a reason for it being there. Oh, Cassie. Hey, London girl. I find it odd Seth said he was a different part of the area searching while in an interview, staying in a gas station parking lot at night. Then there are 0 missing flies in the town he lives in. I find it odd. Is that when he popped on Pascal's? Would that be that time? When he popped up on Pascal's, and I think it would be around that time, wouldn't it? He's at the gate, and he kept saying weird things like drop him off at a gas station, drop him off at I don't know, a store. Anyway, they're saying that Katie Proudfoot pled the fifth, but there's no real answer as to who, what, when, where. Because she's not in a courtroom. Did she plead the fifth with the police? I don't know. I don't get it. And we're not getting real answers, so who the hell knows? Who knows where that originated from? Who was really following the searchers? Well, Bobby and Bobby's children, from what we've been told. At night. So Katie responding, is that in response to their weird message? Is that in response to their message where they said, if you need help to escape Chris, push it too, type of thing? Hey, April. I hope yours was as well. As someone who raised my son alone, I would never have gone and checked on him in his room if he could answer back. As a single mom, you know your son. Well, not only that, but it's not like he didn't respond. Terry Lynn said in a video that they had Stafford and that area blocked off. How did Bobby get down there if she doesn't live on that street? Terry Lynn was pissed she couldn't get down to Katie's. There are missing flyers around Clarksville. Also, just this morning, it was in the gas pump screen while I was getting gas. That is amazing, Casper. Thank you for telling us that. I love hearing that. At no point has it been implied that KB is not cooperating with LE. She hasn't pled the fifth to anyone but YouTube. Well, you know how entitled these people feel they are. Like even using the words she pled the fifth instead of saying she won't talk with us. No, because that doesn't leave much room for speculation, does it? Now, if you write something so serious, such as plead in the fifth, well, there you have it. That sounds gossipy. That sounds juicy. It sounds, criminal. Why is Katie pleading the fifth? It's ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. There's so much to go off of when it comes to, quite frankly, Chris more than anybody. Not more than Katie. You cannot plead the fifth on a polygraph. That is fucking ridiculous. Can somebody send me what you guys are talking about? Because I refuse to even click. I refuse to even click on at nice anything. So if anybody can send me where you guys are getting this shit from, I'd really appreciate it. Here is my email. And then in the meantime, we will get into this and then we'll circle back to that. There's something wrong with that girl. Honestly, there's something wrong with that girl. What? Oh my God. I can't with these people claiming that they are true crime. Like solely true crime. Like everybody else is drama, but I'm true crime. Yet you barely get any views unless you use drama and or my name. So blessed be the fruit. But ma'am, you are not true crime. Nerdy Adkinav drove all the way from Florida and put up flyers all over Clarksville a few months ago. However, he did a short because he was shocked there were none at first. I believe it. Green team can say anything about the Proud Fuzz because they don't get back at them. Not yet, Mary. Not yet. That's even better. Let people think they're getting away with shit. Let people run their mouths and think that they are untouchable and that they're backed up and they have a right. And as soon as they are able to, I'm sure they will see to it that people are held accountable. Callie, thank you for the super sticker. Spread Bobby's protecting their twins from rough housing gone too far or something. I bet you something else, to be honest. I have a feeling there's a lot we are not being told. What's going on now with Seth? I don't know, but I will say this. I don't know for sure. Sorry, there's something in my throat. Hold on. Okay. I don't know for sure if Seth moved or not. I have no idea. Hey, Sassy Hound. What I will say is he told everybody that his rent doubled, making it nearly unaffordable, but he didn't want to move because that is what Sebastian was used to. That's what he said, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you recall. Kimberly, I appreciate that. I'll be quite honest. I don't advertise these people. So if you could do me a favor, especially people like her who their big, attempt to get views again is to claim the FBI reached out to them. I don't write these people's names in the chat. We don't need to send them any more views or anything. Why do you keep coming in under Austin saying that, Johnny? Relax. Lots of ones. We remember that. So is it making anybody else uncomfortable that we see a listing that says it was updated? Okay? Says it was updated in December of 2024, so this month, where the rent says it's only $800 for the same exact apartment that Seth was living in? Does anybody else find that weird? We're just going to go over, we're just going to ignore that, right? All these proud Seth supporters, they're going to continue to ignore all of these red flags. I'll show you where it's coming from. Not where it's coming from, but I'll show you why I believe it. But yeah, we're just going to ignore all of these red old flags. So, right here it says, if you look here, based on information submitted to the MLS grid as of December 11th, 2024. It says it right there, okay? This is the listing of the place he was in. Now, I'm not trying to dox his address or anything, although I don't know if he's there now or not. So, but what I will say is the rent says 800. 800 is what the rent says. So to say they raised it by 5 or they doubled it or any of that is BS. And it's BS that people should be concerned with. Because you anybody can say what they want when it comes to Chris. Oh, he's deceptive and he's manipulative and he's lying and whatever. He's abusive. He's all these things. I'm not even disagreeing. Okay? I'm not even going to disagree with that. But what I will say is surrounding Seth Rogers has always been money. I wouldn't even be surprised if at this point, several of them or all of them knew something and were involved. Shelly M, is that why they keep saying Chris and Katie moved? Which they haven't. And if all these people had neighbor connections, as they claim, they would know that they have not moved. Oh, yeah, I seen that. Oh, that was something, wasn't it? I know, Robin. I was saying the same thing. Like, it's the cost of living down there. Whatever. That's quite cheap for a 2-bedroom. Oh, it is on the injunction? The tacos are no longer on the injunction. It's an old ad. I don't know if it's old or not. Like I said, I can see right here where it says it was updated. I don't know how you can have a recently updated old ad. I mean, you guys see this too, right? I pointed this out when I was reading it directly off the website, based on information submitted as of December 11th. So, but let me play devil's advocate. I could imagine it'd be extremely hard to remain in the same place all these months later. If either of the parents moved, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine either way it wouldn't have came easy, right? That decision to move would not have come easy. So I'm not even going to judge off of it. But I am going to say you can't tell me it's an old ad when it says the data is right here. It was updated this month. Money, money, money. Did I say it like you said it, Alexis? All right, so moving on. Good morning, Leave It to Beaver. It's been a while. I hope you've been well. Hey, that Michelle. Hey, it's me, Amberly. Was not to say when on the market and someone snatched it up real quick, rented it. Well, I think what people are doing is they're looking at the for sale, which is old. I mean, I don't know. Somebody who lives in the area, freaking call them. And I don't call them. Who cares where the man's living? I mean, just being honest. It's weird. We're not entitled to this much of these people's personal lives. We're just not. I don't know who told who out there that they're entitled to where people are living and all these things. You're not. Jailer's dirty word, but his gas station video had vultures in the background flying when he was doing his walk around that place. They have debunked this evidently by saying that he has picked up packages. But how do we know he picked up packages? Hell, I can go pick up packages too. Matter of fact, a lot of times my packages end up at a neighbor's house. Does that mean I live in a neighbor's house? I mean, come on. We're supposed to just take these people that we know lie at face value when all they do is lie? Hey, awkward nerd. Good to see you. Does that make sense to any of you? Sassy Hound, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, let's move along here. All right. Dog the Bounty Hunter and his team and at night confirmed that Katie Proudfoot, the mother of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, has purportedly been instructed by an attorney to refrain from participating in any public forums regarding the case. So her attorney instructs her to not participate in any public forums, and they consider that pleading the fifth? Am I getting this right? That's pleading the fifth? Hey, Google me. Hey, PJs. Touch grass. Good morning, Slim Shady. But he was just there a few weeks ago, too, Slim Shady, so. Where's all his relatives? Don't you find that weird, Slim Shady? You don't find that a little odd? That this man's first holiday, Christmas, without his child and his family's not surrounded him? That's because she's so dumb she doesn't have one herself. You don't find that to be weird? Where's the sister that put the GoFundMe in her name? Where's the godmother? Where's, I don't know, the mother, the father, the grandparents? It was months back that he said his rent was raised. Not recently. That was months back. No, they said she pleaded the fifth a couple of months ago, and it's just coming out now for some reason. This is gross. All of this is gross. I don't get it. Anybody who finds it weird that Katie would have an attorney needs to go ahead and resign from true crime. You need to get offline, or I'm sorry, maybe get off speaking on it and go study. Because again, it is terrifying to me the lack of knowledge about our legal system that these so-called true crime creators have. If you don't think the first thing you would do in a case where your child has vanished is consult with an attorney, you are so surely mistaken and grossly uneducated, okay? But then again, these are the same people that went ahead and signed their signatures not knowing what they were doing. Need we say more? I think not. Thank you to whoever emailed this to me. And then I like how they add in this part. This is an absolute right of Mrs. Proudfoot, which is rightfully irrevocable or circumventable. Maybe you should have pled the fifth instead of being a fucking snitch. How about that? Yes, Tiffany Crockett, you may ask your question. Next time, raise your hand, please. I'm just kidding. But seriously, you know what I mean? Maybe next time invoke yours too. Whew, I'll tell you. Don't get me started. Slimy, grimy, incapable. I wish Chris and Katie would sue. I'm sure they will, Talisa. I'm sure they will. You can't be premature, though. She sure did. Janice Smith, not one but two, according to no other than Robin Rogers. No other than Seth Rogers' sister. Sure did. Thank you for asking, Janice. Slim Shady, with utmost respect, look what's on the screen. It is not the chatters. Who the hell won it, Hazel Eyes? You know what I mean? Who won it? But wait, they're okay with Seth Rogers getting a lawyer? They're okay with Seth Rogers having a spokesman? They're okay with that? If they sue, that would mean so much could be brought to the table. She has pleaded the fifth, evidently. I don't know how that would work. She pled the fifth to fucking YouTubers. It's not even considered pleading the fifth. It's basically saying go F yourself. They're just trying to add these legal terms onto it to make it sound salacious. That would be my guess. Right. I would have had an attorney. Seth Rogers had two lawyers. What do you think should happen to anyone that inserted themselves or were paid by family in any way to protect whoever is responsible? Do you think they should be charged found? I do, Tiffany. I do. You know what else I think? And I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can. If you believe for 1 minute that the Proudfoots are paying people, okay, that they are paying people to say certain things. Oh, child. You need to take a step back from this entirely and regather yourself. If anybody actually was paid to protect a responsible party, yes, they will be charged. Absolutely, they will be charged. Do you want a link to come up and ask them, Tiffany? I'm more than, happy to try to answer whatever I can. Again, I'm not an attorney, but yeah, that would be pretty damn illegal. Why does that say Sebastian was instructed to not participate in public forums? Sebastian? No, I'm sorry. It's because I was covering it. The mother of Sebastian. The police would know it. The FBI would know it if anybody was being paid. No, I get it, Tiffany. I understand what you're saying. I just think these people have done a really good job of making this story more like nefarious and gossipy to keep the rumors going, to keep the coverage going. And I think people have really taken the bait on that. And they now run around stating these things like it's factual. I can tell you, Tiffany, as somebody who has been accused of being paid by the Proudfoots, it is absolute and utter bullshit. Matter of fact, it is defamatory, and it will be one of the many things listed on my countersuit. To implicate me into a crime by stating that I am being paid to cover up for what you consider to be suspects. Yeah, that is implicating somebody into a crime. That is not okay. Not only that, but I don't even fucking like Mr. Proudfoot. How about that? I'm tired of keeping my mouth shut. I don't like him. I think he's fucking weird. I think he has a complex to himself. And I don't doubt for one singular minute that he was pumping his chest up as Sebastian. I don't care how anybody feels about what I say. That's how I feel. Out here telling me I'm working for that bastard. How dare you? And by the way, they missed my pay. So let's start there. Ooh. Well, really, it's not a true crime case. There has been no crime yet. Apparently a teenager, there people are arguing that it can be because a teenager running away is criminal. I don't know. I don't see that at all. Yeah, well, unfortunately, I see things that, make me view it a little bit differently. But I understand how others feel. I still believe innocent until proven guilty. And, I don't, just because I feel that way about Chris doesn't mean I feel like he had anything to do with Sebastian's disappearance, because truth be told, he has a pretty solid alibi. So it'd be pretty hard for him to be involved. If he had orchestrated something like a kidnapping or something like that, best believe that they were involved in it. The FBI is aware of it, and they're just going to go ahead and, work a case until they can get him, if that's the case. So I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if either side was arrested, I wouldn't be surprised. Would not shock me one bit. So is this considered workman's comp? Good one, Robin. Peekaboo said, where's my damn check? Totally agree. I seen it when he attacked Trevor Lee. Some of us have a clearer vision. All three are sus. We don't take sides. We look for facts. Right. Hey, Ellen. Good morning. Victims are required to be likable, though. That's why so many people seem not to get it. That's what so many people seem not to get. Got it. Thank you, April. I appreciate that. Others won't, but that's okay. People need to remember, just because you don't like someone doesn't make them a criminal. I mean, I am positive that you yourself have people that cannot stand you or the utterance of your name. Amen to that. But also, Charmin, Jenna, I find it ironic that people want to use certain things against people while completely supporting and believing in another criminal. You better be getting hazard pay for real. Shit pisses me off. I'm just being honest. There are people that are a lot, more involved and closer than I, but here I am fighting myself against a RICO accusation. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay. So we did it a lot differently than how Barbecue's attorney did it. And this is how we did it. We filed an anti-SLAPP, a motion to dismiss based on an anti-SLAPP, and then we attached a brief, and we attached right to it our exhibits. So we didn't put them on a website. We didn't put them anywhere. Terrence would quit talking about them after Sebastian is found. They're just commodity to you all. I just disagree. I mean, I agree nobody has to like them. I agree. No, even if you think you know them now, you don't. You don't. They're not going to be honest with you. You're fucking YouTubers. I mean, oh, thank you, April. Hey, Striker. Guess Seth if he wasn't always grifting on his inconsistencies. It is weird. Absolutely weird. Flashlight tag. And the fact that Bobby even brought up flashlight tag when there was flashlights. Let me go ahead and pin this. Give me a second to pull up my stream over here so I can pin it. And listen, for anybody who was like thinking I was being serious, I was being a smartass when I did a stream with tape on my mouth for the slap. I was being smartass because that's what Nick did. I wanted to be like Nick. That's all. It was a joke. None of this is an actual joke to me. This is my real life. This is my backyard. This is my reputation in my neighborhood. I don't find it to be funny, but there are times that I'm going to make lighthearted jokes, such as putting tape over my mouth. Don't have a damn conniption. You'll be okay. Oh, Madonna, thank you. Welcome. If you haven't, please take a moment to hit that thumbs up. There are damn near 1,200 of you in here. We can get the thumbs up a little bit higher. We need comedy to cope. Right. It was a damn joke. Tell you what else is a damn joke. People that were trying to orchestrate having meetings with high figures in my neighborhood based on the fact that I am being frivolously sought after in a courtroom that are now validating taking me into that courtroom. That's also a joke. So many people run off feelings and not facts, and it's a real problem. Anyway, as you guys will notice, there's some things missing. Not because of me, but because of them. There are 2 people who have removed themselves from this filing, but their declarations remain. So we're seeking right here, you write this to the court, says that is order and decreed, the defendant's motion is granted, plaintiff's claims as set forth in the complaint are dismissed, the judge will sign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus Lasniak, 11. 12, 13 is missing. Taco and Burrito are missing. Again, Mrs. Burrito, Mr. Taco, congratulations for being the only, and I never suspected it, but being the only smart ones to remove yourselves early enough on in the beginning. Your declarations will still be shown and used to show the inconsistencies, the fallacies, and blatant lies that came out of you, but you were smart enough to get out, so I appreciate that. Hey, Pearls Girl. I do appreciate that. Pursuant to 42 PA, defendant Jessica, referred as defendant, last name, the anti-SLAPP. Right to file a motion to dismiss and standard. On or about October 18th, 2024, plaintiffs at Night Media, LLC, Dwayne Dog Chapman, and all the others filed a complaint against defendant alleging defamation, harassment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, cyberstalking, cyber harassment, civil conspiracy, and coordinated defamation, interference with prospective business relations, as well as alleged violations of the Pennsylvania Corrupt Organization Act, also known as RICO. Can you still sue the tacos? I could, yeah. I don't plan on it. I don't want to. I don't want to sue anybody. The plaintiff's claims against Jessica stem from me hosting, creating a true crime podcast in which she broadcasts through the internet on platforms such as YouTube her opinion about various crimes, incidents, and investigations that occur throughout the United States. Jessica specifically states as much on her YouTube description page. See a true and correct copy of Granny's Watching description disclaimer attached hereto as Exhibit A, incorporate reference as set forth in full. Let me go ahead and show you for myself, although I will pull up declarations. If you come over to my channel over here, you will see the views spoken here are strictly my own and opinion-based. Do not take anything as factual unless stated otherwise. Please always do your own research. Guests are responsible for themselves, and I may not always agree. Please remain respectful and kind. Don't forget, innocent until proven guilty. This video is under the Fair Use Act. That's what they're referring to there. Jessica's daily podcast prior to the filing of this instant action consists of taking calls and chat communications from our audience and commenting accordingly. All Jessica's subject topics come from public sources, including major national news outlets, CNN, local news outlets that are searchable online, and other true crime podcasts. Jessica has never been involved in any investigation, government or private, in connection with any of the podcast subject matter, and only comments on her podcast on publicly available information. Jessica's podcast and her subject matter are publicly protected free speech. The plaintiffs have instituted that instant lawsuit against Jessica specifically designed with the admitted purpose of chilling Jessica's public protected speech. It's pretty bad when an attorney admits to another attorney that their whole purpose is to shut me up. Who the fuck knows? It changes all the time. In the summer of 2024, Pennsylvania enacted an Anti-SLAPP strategic lawsuit against public participation statute, Act 72, designed to protect individuals engaging in constitutionally protected activities such as speech or petitioning related to public participation from baseless lawsuits. Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP statute allows a defendant to file a pre-trial motion to dismiss if a party asserts a claim arising from an instance of public expression within 60 days of being served with a plea to ascertain a cause of action based on protected public expression. A person is immune from civil liberty for a cause of action based on protected public expression, if any of the following apply. The party asserting the cause of action based on protected public expression fails to establish a prima facie case as to each essential element of the cause of action, which means, as you saw above, their cause of action is like defamation, cyber stalking, blah, blah, blah. Like they have a lot that they have to show an actual basis for. Potential business relations, emotional distress. That's going to be really hard to do, especially emotional distress. But anyway, we'll say the cause of action upon which relief can be granted. This is huge. You have to state a cause of action upon which relief can be granted. And 2, there is no genuine issue as to any material fact, and the person against whom the cause of action based on protected public expression has been asserted is entitled to judgment as a matter of law in whole or in part. Right, Brad Silverdog. They have to do. They're gonna have a lot. They're gonna have to show a lot, especially when some of the declarations are so dramatic. Protected public expression is when communication in a legislative, executive, judicial, or administrative proceeding, communication on an issue under consideration or review in a legislative, executive, judicial, or administrative proceeding, or exercise on a matter of public concern of the rights of freedom of speech or of the press, the right to assemble or petition, or the right of association. First Amendment, blah, blah, blah. The claims against Jessica and the plaintiff's complaint arise from an exercise on a matter of public concern of the rights of freedom of speech of the press, the right to assemble or petition, or the right of association, blah, 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 dee, da. Such violence should not be allowed and done in an attempt to silence free speech. As such, and for the reasons set forth and more fully below, plaintiffs' claims against Jessica are in violation of Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP, and their claims should be dismissed as a matter of law. Support and facts, and this is where we're going to back it all up. We're going to back this all up with proof of what we have. I'll show it in a minute. On or about February 26, 2024, a national Amber Alert went out for Sebastian Rogers, a teenager from Hendersonville, Tennessee, who seemingly disappeared from his home. Defendant has a YouTube channel where the defendant reports and provides updates on national news or trending cases that are of interest to people across the country. Upon the issuance of the Amber Alert for Sebastian Rogers, news reporters, TikTokers, YouTubers began discussing his case, including myself. Discussions pertaining to Sebastian Rogers on my channel were focused on the details surrounding the disappearance, interviews of the parents, news articles, as well as the local sheriff's updates regarding disappearance. The mystery surrounding the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers kept people across the country interested in these discussions, such as the live videos and the discussions that were broadcasted on my channel. Throughout the live show that discussed Sebastian Rogers on my YouTube channel, the conversations primarily focused on the shared criticism and or critiques from other news media sources that were covering Sebastian's case. Critiques. They were smart. They're smart to do that. We would also speculate and or discuss any and all case theories with respect to Sebastian Rogers' disappearance. Meaning, did he run away? Did the parents do something? You're allowed to do that. We are allowed to discuss that. Furthermore, Jessica's YouTube channel additionally discussed or reviewed Sebastian Rogers' parents, specifically focusing on the parents' current and past interviews and public antics with respect to the disappearance. We have what's called an open panel feature where we discuss and allow others, case discuss their own personal and or similar situations. I have frequently had working professionals who join the channel in order to share their experience in working in the field. In September 2024, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Nick Casafrasa, Joseph Lasniak, and somebody told me it's not the right way to say it, made their appearance in Sebastian Rogers' case as an intelligence agency under the umbrella company At Night Media, which was shortly thereafter changed to At Night Private Intelligence Agency. Dog the Bounty Hunter, Nick, Joseph, and Hung demonstrate significant bias with respect to their coverage of the Rogers case due to the fact that they were working hand in hand with Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth Rogers, and his self-titled spokesman, Tony Mathis. Hey, Cheesy. Good question. I pushed back on their rhetoric and or coverage of the case by and through the use of publicly well-known fact that At Night Media has threatened to use truth serums on individuals that they deem as a suspect in their cases, that of which is illegal in the United States. I pushed back on At Night's rhetoric and her coverage resulted in public attacks on me. When the public attacks on me failed to work, they entered the instant injunction, which is baseless, meritless, and full of fallacies. On September 25th, Jessica was conducting a live show and Nick entered a chat. Podcast really disclaims the following. Oh, this is on the other page. The subject matter of the September 25th podcast was the ongoing investigation of Plaintiff Rogers' missing son in Sumner County, Tennessee. I was expressing my opinion on the conduct of the investigation based on accessible sources. I was reacting to the chat, and he came in and commented, "I found the Queen Skunk," followed by, "Hey, you and Delco too, see you soon." Then on September 25th, Nick took to Twitter where he posted information about myself and my family. Joseph Lasniak responded with a post on Pennsylvania's laws regarding doxing. On October 18th, they filed this injunction with the exhibits attached to his personal website, not even attached to the filing. So that was interesting. Nick's online associates read the injunction, and during their live shows, Nick made comments such as, "We're not asking for money," as well if they ended nonsense Monday, this could be settled Tuesday. See a true and correct copy of the screenshot, which I will show you all. The live host states that this is federal and costs the defendants a lot of money. Nick comments, "We haven't even started yet. It'll all end if the nonsense ends. No charge, no money. Nonsense ends Monday. They sign Tuesday. It's dismissed Wednesday." Oh, the Tennessee DA is involved in this. Like, they're aware that this is all going on because they have to verify that I'm not interfering in an investigation. So, on October 20th, Nick does a live show. On the live video, Nick states that this is the first shots fired and they are filing 10 lawsuits in 10 different states with the intent to combine them all and make them federal. He further states he's not asking for money. They claim they will get the IP addresses of everyone who disagrees with them, and they will be sent out subpoenas to multiple social media sites from those individuals will be dragged through and brought to Pennsylvania. So I'm going to go over to this one, which shows all of this. Because unlike them, we attached the proof. Here it is. On October 20th, Nick does a live stream. On the live video, Nick states that this is the first shots fired. They sent out subpoenas to multiple sites. He repeatedly claims that their intent is to silence keyboard warriors and is not worth the money you are going to spend in litigation. It's really not. We just started. It's rather big bill on our end, so I can't imagine the other end. So guys, again, all we're asking for is some civility here. We're not asking for money. If these individuals were to agree tomorrow to the terms which include to stop bullying, Tuesday, we will have the agreement, and then Wednesday, judge will review the agreement and decide whether or not to accept it. He then invites more people to join the lawsuit, claiming this is becoming a class action, and that over 20 more plaintiffs that have not yet been named, and also entities, big well-known entities, will be joining. Time, family, friend. They did it. We do. At Night Media released a statement via their website on X that they intend on hosting a public press conference on the steps of Delaware County Courthouse. They'll get a one-on-one interview with Dog. They then canceled due to what they stated were safety concerns over an offhanded joke of a marching band appearing. Can we get some instruments in the chat? R.I.P. marching band. R.I.P. Yeah, what happened to freedom of speech, Holly? Good question. Maybe he is. Brad, maybe he isn't. Nick and associates reached out and had WKRN, a news organization in Tennessee, report on their filing. On November 8th, defendant was served with the injunction. That's also when Nick did a live stream. He speaks to me throughout. There's no reason for you to drag yourself into something we all know you won't be able to afford to get out. Now, maybe there are YouTubers, not in this case, that can afford litigation. Probably 2 people that have millions of followers, not anyone that has under 1 million. So the reason this is being stated this way is to show the intent behind it, right? Unfortunately for them, they continue to speak and make their intentions clear, with the following and latest being Nick admitting to Queen Bee that they had no intent on actually pursuing her in the courtroom. They just wanted to get a response, a reaction from somebody else. I'm assuming that somebody else is JLR. That's my assumption. And if you want that, if you want JLR, go get him. He brags that they won a lawsuit against Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man. States threatens to add more defendants and plaintiffs and draggers across the world, everywhere they have an office. If anyone says even one word he dislikes, he'll add them to him, cost them thousands. Brags that he has big names with money in his pocket, threatens to remove our channels, all of us, not just mine, because he's working with Mark Zuckerberg. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Zuckerberg isn't he Facebook? Yeah, he's Facebook. So I don't know how working with him is going to get but whatever. Here's where he offers me protection. He then states again the cost of the lawsuit, says you'll be making YouTube videos for the next 10 years. You'll only cover your gas to get to court. We are going through litigation. We are going through depositions, and we are going to trial for some of these people. This is going to be a 4 to 5 year litigation and won't end until 2030. It's going to be a new president, a whole new world by then. And that's when this is going to be over. And next time you click live, think about that. If you want to be stuck in front of a jury, spending thousands and thousands of dollars. Andrew Griffith stated people think this filing is about Sebastian Rogers. It isn't. Lasniak appears on Court TV where he says we have too much time on our hands and our 15 minutes are up. They're tired of it. He's not going to allow us to utilize these powerful platforms. Nick states the first court hearing, a production team. How about that? Where are you at, UA? The production team. Nah, No. Whether the plaintiffs violated Pennsylvania Act 72, the anti-SLAPP. Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP statute allows the defendant to file a pretrial motion to dismiss if a party asserts a claim arising from an instance of public expression. Person is immune from civil liberty for a cause of action based on protected public expression. Again, this is all that they're claiming. Defamation, harassment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, cyber stalking, cyber harassment, civil conspiracy, coordinate defamation, interference with prospective business relations, and then RICO. That's what they're claiming. There can be no question that the allegations against me set forth in the plaintiff's complaint arise from an exercise on a matter of public concern. The plaintiff's accusations against Jessica are that she participated in a public forum of a YouTube podcast and expressed her opinion. The plaintiffs cannot establish a prima facie case as to each essential element of each of the cause of action. Plaintiffs have failed to state causes of action upon which relief can be granted against Jessica. There is no genuine issue as to any material fact that plaintiff claims are based entirely on protected public expression. When a defendant has filed a motion to dismiss on the ground that the lawsuit is SLAPP, the burden then shifts to the plaintiff to establish that the case has merit. To allow this obvious SLAPP lawsuit to proceed, the message and impact will be devastating to freedom, liberty, and democracy in Pennsylvania. This lawsuit is clearly an example that anyone with financial resources to pay for lawyers in lawsuits with little or no concern for the merits or unlikely success of litigation are encouraged to shut up their critics by filing lawsuits demanding their critics stay silent. Furthermore, the complaint includes a plaintiff, Dwayne Dog Chapman, Dog the Bounty Hunter, without making factual allegations or claims on said plaintiff's behalf. Clearly, addition of this plaintiff is for improper purposes, included, but not limited to, increased publicity and notoriety surrounding the case. In addition, the complaint identifies a widely respected lawyer as counsel without including a signature line on the pleadings for said lawyer. It is believed and therefore averred that the inclusion of this counsel was without his knowledge or consent, and that said lawyer is not now, nor has he ever been involved in this matter. And that has been further confirmed when no other than Bruce Castor himself responded that he is not involved in this lawsuit, nor has he ever been. So that sounds like it'll be a problem. Y'all over there bleeding in the words of these people claiming they have satellite footage. Why don't you go ask them what happened to this big, high, widely respected lawyer and why he's responded back to take his fucking name off of this? Shit, did I just exit that? I did. Hold on. I'm sorry. Pissed me off again. They're not going to tell you that, though. They have to, because it was stated he wants it to be publicly known, but they're likely not going to tell you that. Where was I? All right. Here we go. Sorry about that. Got me a little excited there. You get amused when I get mad. All right. In addition, the complaint identifies a widely respected. The plaintiffs in this lawsuit have clearly banded together, properly or improperly, like a RICO, named in the complaint or represent the plaintiffs with the stated goal of pursuing such a lawsuit at great cost and inconvenience to citizens such as myself, whose only offense is to openly differ from plaintiffs with their supporters, to speak out against impropriety or something, or to air opinions with respect to the investigation of Sebastian Rogers' disappearance. Opinions. I demand a dismissal of plaintiff's claims against me, as well as award of attorney fees and costs as provided under Pennsylvania anti-SLAPP statute. If a cause of action based on protected public expression is commenced against a party, all of the following apply. If the party is immune under Section 8.3, the court shall award the party attorney fees, court costs, and expenses of litigation jointly and severally against each adverse party that asserted the cause of action. We counted in the beginning that there's 11 of them. That's what that means. Absolutely. Absolutely, they can be held accountable for that. And we're going to see to it that they are. If the party asserts protected public expression immunity and the opposing party voluntarily discontinues this action, somebody just asked this, Okie Mom. So if they voluntarily discontinue the action under, PA whatever, with or without prejudice, the court shall award the asserting party attorney fees, court costs, expenses of litigation jointly and severally against each adverse party. So that means even if they withdraw it today, we can still pursue it. I filed this motion seeking dismissal of plaintiff's cause of action based on my protected public expression. I'm entitled to attorney fees, court costs, expenses of litigation. I'm also further entitled to punitive damages if plaintiffs brought the underlying action for the sole purpose of punishing or maliciously inhibiting public expression. I respectfully request, I give my signature, and then we do have exhibits. And some of them will be held for some exhibits are held for oral argument. Well, they did it early on before the amendment was put in, which again, give me 1 second. I believe the amendment was done for the sole purpose. It is my opinion, let me make this clear, it is my opinion, based on recent revelations, that the amended complaint was only done with the sole purpose of removing Bruce Castor improperly and without bringing it to the public's awareness that Bruce Castor was removed from the filing. I say this because A, Bruce Castor himself says he was never aware of this filing. B, we know that Nick sent a message to Queen Bee stating that he had no actual intent on following through with his request to amend because At Night had no intent on pursuing Queen Bee. They just wanted to get a reaction out of somebody. So that's a good question. I don't know. Have you all hit the thumbs up? They've been served, yeah. I know who's been served. They've been served this. This is where they said you'll see the, my description. Here's Nick in the chat box. We're not asking for money, etc. If they end the nonsense Monday, this could be settled Tuesday. We also have quite a few videos. Give me a second, I'll show you.
Are seeing the first round of litigation that just went out. I guess that's our first shots fired. It's the first of many. Again, we are filing 10 lawsuits in 10 different states with the intent to combine them all together and make them federal. Enough is enough. This is about cyberbullying that has deterred the case, and I can see that more bullies are coming on board. I welcome you to submit your motions with the court. They would love to hear from you. Trust me, it'll make our jobs easier too. So go ahead and file that. Be sure to follow the procedures and whatnot. I would consult an attorney in Pennsylvania if you're going to file a motion in Pennsylvania because it's much different.
Did Nick consult with his plaintiffs that they should also consult with an attorney in Pennsylvania Asking for his friend.
But nevertheless, guys, we are going to 10 states with this. It's Pennsylvania is the first for obvious reasons. Like Mr. Castor said, the Declaration of Independence was signed
Like Mr. Castor also said, he was never involved in this filing.
13 miles away from the courthouse where we intend to bring these people. And there's a lot of them. It's not just barbecue lady. It's not just Granny is watching.
I'm not showing my hand, Scout, because this has already been submitted to the courtroom. They already have this. This is already filed. Showing my hand would be showing what I don't have prior to filing. This was already filed. So it's not showing my hand. They already have this. They've been served it.
Those are 2 lead defendants, and you'll see more coming. Lots more. There are 50 people we intend to bring in, and we intend to litigate to the end. Those, I think there's...
Remember, this was October 20th. We are now December 27th.
Discovery and stuff like this. You guys are funny. This is not a discovery type of case. We're not asking for money.
Listen to what you said there. It's not a discovery type of case.
This is an injunction, and if you know what an injunction is, great. If you don't, great. It's not something to play games with. At the end of the day, we are not going to stop until Sebastian is found. The bullies are really working overtime to stop that. And it doesn't work, right? You guys can't really stop it.
Yes.
All the troll accounts. We sent out subpoenas to X. We sent out subpoenas to YouTube, Google, Alphabet Inc. And
all the troll accounts. You heard that, right? We send out subpoenas.
Meta. All of the troll accounts, we're getting their IP addresses. We're going to match them back to those that own the troll accounts. From there, those individuals will be dragged through and brought into Pennsylvania or California or Tennessee, whichever jurisdiction they are in. Again, we are going to be filing in 10 different states, 10 different lawsuits with the intent to make them federal. The goal here is to stop the nonsense, find Sebastian Rogers, and we will. Once these clowns get out of the way, once these keyboard warriors get out of the way, Sebastian will come home. Again, guys, stay safe. Remain vigilant. We're under the assumption that Sebastian...
So he's implying that because of us, Sebastian's not coming home, which leads me to ask, do you know where Sebastian is? Right, federal. He keeps saying it's federal. It's not federal.
Sebastian Rogers is alive.
That's why this is part of an exhibit.
Operating under that assumption. If you see something, obviously alert authorities and remain safe. Stop the bullying. Stop the doxing. Stop all of that. It's not worth it. It's not worth the money that you're going to be spending in litigation. It's really...
This part's important.
Stop all of that. It's not worth it. It's not worth the money that you're going to be spending in litigation. It's really not. We just started, and it's a rather big bill on our end.
Remember, that's quoted.
So I can't imagine the other end. So guys, again, all we're asking for is for some civility here. We're not asking for money. If these individuals were to agree tomorrow to the terms, which include to stop bullying, Tuesday we would have...
I feel rather bullied. It was touch grass. It was right after. Yeah. I'm feeling pretty bullied. No, I get what you're saying, Scout. That's why I waited. This was absolutely served. Isn't FCC federal? What does that mean? I don't know.
Have the agreement. And then Wednesday, the judge will review the agreement and decide.
Let me tell you guys, that's not how this works. What he says here is an absolute utter lie. That is not how this works.
Or to agree tomorrow to the terms, which include to stop bullying. Tuesday, we would have the agreement. And then Wednesday, the judge will review the agreement and decide whether or...
Judges don't get involved with the agreements. They just don't. He's lying. That's what he's done this whole time, is try to make this seem worse than it is. Trying to intimidate. This is prior to me even being served. It only has to go to the attorney, quite frankly, but it was served to quite a few people, yes. But the attorney represents all of them. So the only person who has to be served is the attorney.
Or not she or he wants to accept it. The judge may very well say, no, I'm not accepting this. I want those women to appear before me so I can see what's going on. But nevertheless, settlement, when we say settlement, that's what that entails. It means that you agree to stop.
Remember when Nick was saying people love to settle with them? Remember that? That's also included.
What you are doing, and the court will issue an order with that settlement, making it a court-ordered agreement, making any more headspace for bullying not a thing.
I feel like a lot of people are being bullied, like the green hoodie guy. I feel like Tyler Feller. I feel like myself, Barbecue Queen Bee, are being bullied. I feel like SF Investigates is being bullied. I feel like Stephen Crabtree, Cleo Cletus are being bullied. I feel like a lot of people are being bullied.
It's not just for the defendants in this case. It's not just for the plaintiffs in this case. If these defendants go and start targeting other people, call us. If you've been a victim of any of these doxing individuals, call us. You can email doxing@night.agency, and we will obviously investigate your claims.
See, this is further intimidation tactic.
And streamline them to the attorneys. This is becoming.
You should make sure that your plaintiffs understand what bullying actually is, especially in Pennsylvania.
A class action suit against a lot of individuals to the attorneys. This is becoming a class action suit against a lot of individuals. There are many more plaintiffs that haven't been named yet. It's closer to 20. And these are also entities, organizations that are joining us to stop the bullying.
This was October 20th, friends.
It's National Cyberbullying Prevention Awareness Month. I got that backwards, but
that's all right.
It has something to do with
you got a lot backwards.
Bullying awareness this month. Again, guys, if you see something, say something. Feel free to report people if they're doxing you to us now that we are getting the engines are taking off.
But the engines were froze midway. They were stopped. The engines were stopped when they asked for a break from a filing that they did not need to request a break from. So that's one of the exhibits. As you can imagine, there's many, many more of those exhibits. We just showed a few there. A lot of it's being held for oral argument. Bruce Castor will be requested to come into that courtroom. If they love to settle with them, why is Nick under a $5.5 million judgment? They believe him because they want to. Confirmation bias is strong. Yeah, on October 18th, he said he was going to pursue an injunction vigorously for Sebastian's benefit. We are now entering 2025. It has been October, November, December. It's been 3 months. It's pretty amazing watching this now. Knowing he's been spurred by his parole officer, Bruce Castor was never involved. One of the plaintiffs says she's never been afraid of anyone on YouTube. Speaks about me daily, showing that her declarations were full of bullshit. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in what we have. I'm pretty damn confident. So between my filing and Barbecue's filing, they have, right, well, they say they're not asking for money, and then towards the end of their lawsuit, they are asking for money. So there was a lot going on there. Basically, they now have, for Barbecue, they have till a different time frame, but for myself, they have to respond by January 12th. Motion of rule. We filed on the 23rd. They have till January 12th to respond. We will be requesting that all parties show up. This all would be filled out by the judge. We should see this filled out shortly. The ball is getting rolling. We are pursuing that the ball get rolling. You can't do this. You just can't do it. So we'll see what the judge decides at the end, but that's where we're at with it. Anti-SLAPP. They asked for a break that I didn't show it. Do you want me to show it? I can show it. They sure did ask for a break. They asked the Honorable Court to give them a break as they file a amended complaint. That was requested back on November 8th. They have not filed or pursued their amended complaint since then. As we all saw, Nick confirmed in a message to Queen Bee that they had no intent on following through. Not only did he confirm it via the message, but he later confirmed the message to come from him when he decided to upload the entirety of his conversations with Queen Bee, stating that he is releasing his messages with Queen Bee. So give me just a second. I can pull them up for you all. And then we can get into what they are saying about this pleading the fifth and latest allegations of satellites when they're not satellite imagery. They are only aerial Aerial is not satellite. I know that was part of the intention, was to intimidate your support so money would stop and you would back down. Same with getting your GoFundMe shut down, which is also in my counter. They lied to GoFundMe, stating I was facing criminal charges. So give me just a second for this to come up. Also, I have a screenshot of somebody saying they are not in a lawsuit with me, which they are sadly and surely mistaken. And I know the tacos have withdrawn, but we will still be using their filing to show that there are it was emotionally written and based on fallacies. Oh, I missed this. I'm sorry. Granny, do you still need SS email? I have plenty. I think one at a time your email was full. Yeah, you guys are welcome to send me anything you have. Just put, if it's about like the litigation, just put litigation in the title. I will and may possibly be seeking out affidavits. If anybody is interested in having an affidavit submitted, it will have to include your government name, but it'll be greatly appreciated. So here we have Nick. He released these himself on Twitter, and he even put his watermark in. You will see right here. But keep this between us, please, so I don't get roasted. But at night has no intent of adding you to the suit. It was to see if someone would react. Right there, Nick released these himself. He stated as much through Twitter what his intentions were. And that's another huge problem. If anybody would like to come up, if you have any questions you'd like to ask, you're more than welcome to ask them. That right there is admitting to using misuse of the court system, as well as Castor's name being included. Let's do... I'm going to do... I have never done a super chat goal, but I'm going to do one. Let's see. I hate these gold things, actually. I don't like them at all. Oh, Pearl's Girl. Hello.
Hey, Granny, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. I just want everybody to remember that this is our right to freedom of speech as well. When you go to court, this is a right for our freedom of speech to be kept. You know, this is
Absolutely.
invading all of us' freedom of speech. So consider that in the chats, people, that this stands for all of us. What she's having to go through, and I'm sorry for it, Granny. But that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Miss Pearl. It's true.
Thank you, and y'all hit that thumbs up and sub. It costs nothing. Granny never asked for nothing.
I appreciate you, Pearl. Thank you.
Y'all have a great day.
You as well. I still think it was calculated move on Nick's part to release them text messages, but it doesn't do them any well. There's nothing calculated. I don't think it was calculated. I think it was reactionary. I think he was reactionary to what Queen Bee showed. He was in a chat box saying that it was misrepresented. And he took to Twitter, uploaded it, and then he quickly regretted doing so because then he tried walking it back that it wasn't him. Hey, B Tim.
Hey, what's up?
Not much.
Question. Are you saying that Castor has to come in there in court to basically in Pennsylvania for this?
We'll be requesting that he does, absolutely.
And what happens if he doesn't show up?
Well, he's at that point would be risking not only his license but his credibility. So I I think he'll show up.
And
I
and
mean,
do you guys have like I don't know if you said, I thought you said someone said that they have an email. I don't know if it was you or barbecue, that you
we
have some
both
sort of communication with Castor saying that this is he's not involved with this
we
case.
both now have emails as well as our attorneys from Castor stating as much.
So
So
he can't just go in there and be like, yo, he can't basically go in there and lie. He's
I you know what? I think he's credible enough that he won it. But I also don't think he's willing to risk his credibility and or being sanctioned by the courts for lying.
So if he goes in there and he tells the truth and says, "Yeah, I did not sign up for this. My name is not supposed to be on this document. I was never part of this lawsuit." What is the court going to do with that? Because I've never actually heard of something like that, to be honest with you, where
It's a good question.
you know what I mean? Like, because that to me seems like fraud. Like, so you're basically first off, I would think the lawyer who filed it would be sanctioned by like the bar association for doing something like that, because you're basically you're not supposed to just add an attorney's name to a filing because they never agree to it. So if you got him dead to rights, I mean, I'm kind of shocked that Mr. Joseph Lasniak hasn't called you guys up and tried to settle this out of court and get this done. Because if he goes into court and Castor goes into court and he says what we all think he's going to say, which is, nope, I have nothing to do with this. I didn't know about this filing. I never agreed to be part of this case. That's pretty much like you got him by the balls. I don't know why he hasn't tried to contact you and just settle this thing out. Sorry that everyone's quiet all of a sudden, but I'm just saying, like, why hasn't he like called up? Can you hear me, Granny?
I do. I apologize. I was asking a question. So it would pretty much be falsifying court documents, is my understanding. Not only could not only would obviously Lasniak get could be sanctioned. I'm not going to say he's going to be. Could be sanctioned for it. But my understanding is those who ran around boistering that he was on this, knowing he has zero awareness, didn't consult with him. Because I want to quote verbatim, "Who the F is Stephanie and Jessica, and what the F is this?" So there was zero awareness of this. And this could have a detrimental impact to Castor's name because this is and may possibly be the first successful anti-SLAPP.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he might have a civil case for where he wants to bring a defamation lawsuit against them and seek sanctions against and actually try to go after Mr. Joseph's fucking, go after him in the bar. Because
now I
like to
don't
me,
think I know Castor won't. He's likely not to go after Lasniak in that aspect because I do believe he considers himself friends and colleagues with Castor. I'm sorry, with Lasniak, but that's where we come in and we're not going to allow it just to be brushed under like they're hoping to do. We're not allowing that.
so there's no, but like, so if he's friends with this guy and they're friends, why did he not know about this? Why did he like kind of just basically say, "What the hell is this?" And I have no clue what you're talking about with this.
Well, it's funny you asked that because I have a
Because
feeling
like,
that maybe even Lasniak himself wasn't quite aware of everything that was on that filing, if you get what I'm saying.
yeah, because I'm thinking, and this is Body Movement who stated that each exhibit had like Betty's name on top of it, and the metadata came from Mr. Nick the Hat.
Yeah. So, and that's why we point out that throughout the filing, he refers to himself a lot in the third person, which is odd, right? Because you would write Joseph. You want to write, Joseph Lasniak. That you know what I'm saying? Like you can tell it wasn't
So
quite right.
let's say like Mr. Castor comes in, he says he supports your thing. He says I wasn't involved, and then Joseph's like, well, I didn't add his name there. What would that mean if that's basically like, okay, then he's basically throwing his client under the bus and basically says that his client put that there? Would that be a crime?
Well, if you already have say you're already on perhaps parole for fabricating, things and impersonating people. I mean, sure, yeah, it'd be a bigger crime given current circumstances, I would assume.
Robin says, good point, B10. Question is possible that it's not him. Don't they depend on their associates to write, to communicate? Well, sometimes they have like their paralegal they'll write it over and then they'll have their paralegal look through it usually. I don't think they'll have a paralegal write it out usually, but they'll just have their paralegal read it. I don't think it would be either way. The attorney would review it. Let's say they had their paralegal or associate do it. They would still need to read through it and then put their John Hancock on it. I don't even think Lozniak's signature on there?
It is. It is.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
So
is even in a way kind of worse if you think about it, because, yes, they usually would have, you're right, a paralegal. Now, what if somebody wasn't a credentialed paralegal and they were doing this?
Yeah, I mean, like, it makes me wonder because you don't need to go to school to become a paralegal. You can, in the old days, they could have just, I don't know today, but in the old days, you could be like allowed. So, realistically, you could just, who knows what we never knew what Mr. Nick the Hat's job is, Maybe that's his job. Like he works in the office, just like a secretary or something like that.
Well, paralegal. Like Jay Jones says, ultimately he holds the license, right? He signed that he is in on all this, that he represents all of this. So ultimately, he's still responsible for anything he files under his bar number.
I mean, like I'm talking about
his paralegals,
Yeah, you do have to go to school now, but in the old days, I'm talking about like 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, they used to just let you in and just come in and you just basically learn on the ropes. Today they do. When I was in school, I'm not paralegal, but I used to go to school with them. It was more like an advantage to get it than other people. Basically, you would go and you would have a higher chance of getting hired in a law firm if you went to school for being a paralegal. But it was and then they basically closed up and they were like, okay, now you need to have it. We're not going to accept anyone that's not trained. Right. Mostly because, a paralegal does kind of like, I remember this one attorney that talked to me and he was like, he was talking about when he first got out of law school and he was getting paid less than the paralegal. And he went up to his, and he's an attorney, he's an associate. And he went up to the boss and he said, the guy, the partner, and he says, why am I getting paid less than the paralegal? And he says, well, she does double the work than one of you people. So she gets paid more.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, that's usually a good paralegal is worth their weight in gold, and like literally worth their weight in gold. Like you probably rather trade 2 associates for one good paralegal, to be honest with maybe 3 actually.
Yeah, because paralegals do a lot, but like legal extractions here says you don't have to be trained as a paralegal or have a certificate. It's not law. Which I didn't know that. Hey, Summy, good morning.
It was supposed to say beat him, but anyway, yeah. I mean, like I think like that's an important question because like if Castor goes in and he says, I did not sign this document, I have no clue what this case is about, I did not even know my name was put on there, and then like that's just, I think you got them by the balls with that. Like that alone is pretty bad.
That's a pretty big deal. I mean, again, you heard them. Especially when they dropped this filing, how many people ran around saying, oh, they got the former DA, they got Trump's former attorney, they got the big league with them. They used that to bolster and intimidate, in my opinion, those of us that they were seeking to silence. It was an intimidation tactic, obviously, because here it is, after they were saying all of that, now we find out, oh no, I wasn't even aware.
Yeah, and I just think that's I mean, like, I think the anti-SLAPP is great, but I think you got him by the balls with just that alone, because that's why I'm kind of shocked Mr. Joseph Lozniak is not like trying to call up your attorneys vigorously and be like, hey, can we get the fuck out of this? Can we just, how much money would it take for me to, pay for your attorney's fees and get the fuck out of it? I mean, like, because like, it's like, I don't think they realize like, this is not good. Like this comes out and Mr. Joseph Lozniak, if like the judge looks at it, like it becomes part of the record once you go into the courtroom. And if that becomes part of the record and written down by, a court reporter or any sort of, document, that's going to look really fucking bad. Like you're gonna be, and you know, you might not think Mr. Castor will not do sanctions, but it depends on.
Well,
Like,
here's what you also have to consider, beats him, right? So not only was Castor put on this, and he was used by all of them to kind of further their strong arm, right? By stating as much. A lot of them ran around like, oh, they know better than the former DA, than Trump's attorney. Like, it was a huge point that they used to pretty much harass us in the beginning. But they also have not, and still have not to this day, properly removed Castor from the filing either. Simply resubmitting a request to amend and removing his name that way doesn't cut it. That's not good enough. So they
because
still haven't acknowledged their error.
Because usually, I mean, I'm not familiar. Maybe someone in the chat doesn't the attorney have to like submit a form? The attorney just withdraw that's on the filing. Be like, hey, I am not representing this person anymore. I'm withdrawing, and then they amend. Because I'm pretty sure I've seen in documents where the attorney has to like submit saying this law firm's taking over for me, and I'm submitting this right now for that purpose. Yeah. Did they do that?
No.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. They still haven't. And you has a good point. Didn't Katie Proudfoot already have an attorney from Sue and Betty from the protective orders? I would assume,
well,
yes.
Seth had two attorneys. He had one attorney in the beginning to do the cease and desist on people. That was a separate attorney. And then she was for family court or something like that. She was like for something like that had to do with family or probate. And then there was another attorney that people were supposed to send their funds to for the award that they were going to personalize a check to.
Which that attorney's secretary reached out and said, no, we are not involved with that.
Yeah, and then there's the third attorney, which is obviously Joseph Lesniak, who is his attorney technically. So he's had three attorneys.
Right. Well, and Vivian here says Castor appearing with dog made it look credible too. It did. And you'll notice the next court appearance or big TV appearance they did, or program appearance, if you will, Lesniak was on instead of Castor.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you might say, oh, well, they're friends, he might not do that. But like, let's say I did that to like Queen Bee, and I was like, yeah, Queen, I'm put your name on the filing, and I could potentially cost you about $100,000, and I basically illegally put your name on there. Do you think she would be friends with me anymore? Do you think she would be cool with me? Or do you think she'd just be like cursing me out from 6 ways to Sunday?
Well, and another thing people have to realize is this is even a little bigger than that, because we are talking about, as stated in the filing, this is a widely respected. So he is well known and widely respected, and you basically signed him on. As impersonation at the minimum, I would assume. Again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a police officer, but at the very minimum, this is a huge thing to do. Like, this is big. I'm going to feed my cat really quick, Beaton, no problem. But I'm listening.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, you guys called their bluff. I think this was a huge bluff by this people to put these people there. And that's why they were like, oh, this could be settled the next day. Just come into the office and stop the bullying. And they wanted some sort of like little false victory whereby they would get you to sign something, stop the bullying, and then they would look like heroes. And I think they didn't realize that people would call their bluff. And now you're finding out that the Mr. Castor is not even on there, and this whole thing is they've actually also or could be hit with like real ramifications, financial ramifications, each one of the plaintiffs. And I think that's kind of crazy to me. It's because like it really did sound like kind of like an extortion, because they thought, hey, you know what these YouTubers are not going to spend money. And like they kind of tried to do the same thing what the networks did to Jay for Justice with the whole settlement with them in copyright court. They were like, oh, well, you're not going to spend all this money, and she didn't have the money. She'd rather just default and just pay them $5,000 and whatnot, and just not deal with that bullshit and spend, because you'll spend more than $5,000 in lawyers. Just crazy. I just can't believe. To me, like the anti-SLAPP is probably the least, like for them doing this frivolous injunction is one thing, but then to like not tell an attorney to tell an attorney that they're on a filing, to just basically not mention it. And I've seen I don't think I've ever seen that before. I've never seen something like that before, actually. Because
Okay, sorry. I'm
no
back.
problem. I mean, your cat eats pretty quickly, by the way.
Well, I just had to feed her, not watch her eat it.
Holy fuck. Soon, Papa is gonna make a fucking video on you while you're
Right.
abusing your cat. He eats too fast. Your dogs eat too fast. That's a
Too quickly.
yeah. It's a sign of abuse for your dogs. The dog eats too fast. Don't you know?
Holly, thank you so much. So somebody asked up here if the lack of signature, if the lack of caster signature, no, it won't.
I mean, it's a bad thing if if Castor's signature's not on there. That's pretty bad.
Well, we
And
pointed that out in the beginning. They had excuses for it. Now again, I'm not an attorney, but I know that this is a big deal. Regardless, signature, this or that is a pretty damn big deal.
it is in a piece. And if you got email correspondence saying what the hell is this, or like dead to rights, where he's like he has no clue about it, and he knows that he says I have nothing to do with it.
Well, like legal extraction just said, caster appearing with dog in the association definitely creates a circumstantial argument for imputed knowledge of the suit. You don't file RICO and it not get talked about amongst attorneys and friends.
Yeah, and to me, that is true. I mean, I don't know what he's going to say in the courtroom. He says, well, I didn't know, like, I knew about it, but I didn't know that I was part of it.
Yeah, well, this is going to be bigger than they planned for. The fallout could be media worthy for sure. Oh, yeah, media. Well, yeah, yep, thank you, Casual Art. And funny you say that. Maleficent, thank you.
I mean, yeah, it could be. I mean, if it does become media, it's going to be like this whole house of cards, all these people that surround themselves with this group of, to me, like, my opinion, I feel like, you know, Mr. Nick is like a magician, where he's like, look over here, but not over here. Whenever like something comes out, he tries to distract the audience. So while he just like kind of sneaks in a trick or two, like when, for instance, I'll give an example. When Mr. Chris Ralphwood went out to search, he immediately puts a statement about that. And you know what I mean? Like, you know, and like whenever there's something that kind of goes against his narrative, he does, he plays those types of games. But
right, it's like it's definitely a game. So here's what it comes down to, right? So, you know, as and thank you so much, Casual Art, Electro, Maleficent, but as Casual Art says here, if media got involved, so you what it comes down to is you have Lasniak and Castor, whose names were on this. Lasniak and Castor definitely have a relationship because Castor represents, and he made it very clear, he's representing Dog in a different state with a different thing. He has nothing to do with this one. Begs the question if Dog's even fully aware, which we'll find out. But it's going to come down to, is Castor willing to protect his friends, or is he hoping that his friends alone will keep him out of this, or is it going to become a bigger thing? And that all comes down to, I guess, the attorneys at the end of the day, what they're willing to do with it.
I don't know, honestly. I mean, this is the first time I've actually seen something like this, to be honest with you, whereby, you know, this, first off, this injunction was crazy by itself, and the allegations being placed in the injunction were pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. But then to find out the attorney, one of the attorneys, not only not signed, but also is you know, has no clue, and then and admits on an email that he has no clue what the hell's going on and doesn't even know who these people are. Like, is the exact words like, I'm just wondering, was the exact words like, what were the exact words? Can you say, or you can't say?
I don't. So there's 3 separate emails.
3?
There's 3. I don't know if I can verbatim it or not.
But like, I mean, like sum and substance, like.
Well, all right. So one can say, I'm not involved in this case, and any indication otherwise is an error.
Oh.
Mr. Lasniak is the plaintiff's counsel. Okay. I represent Mr. Chapman in a matter in Texas only.
Oh.
Evidently, that caused some confusion. If I was not clear about that sooner in the progress of this case, I regret that. So he admits there he had knowledge of the progress of this case.
Okay, so he's backpedaling. Okay, so basically, I think I get the picture. I think this is my opinion, I think he had you're very close to me, Nicole, by the way. You got a couple other suits. Oh, well, you
Oh,
mentioned it.
thank you. The Iva Prop. Philadelphia Freedom. Thank you, Iva. It's good to see you. Maleficent, thank you again. Sasha, thank you. Thank you guys so much. Was I crackling? It was because I was typing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've noticed that whenever you type, it starts, your computer just starts.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
sensitive. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's no problem. But the so it sounds like, in my opinion, that he knew about it and he might have allowed it to be on the document, but he's now backpedaling since there's going to be a possible anti-SLAPP.
Right, since there's a response.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he kind of knew about it, and I don't think he was just like, oh, they threw his name in there without his permission. I think he just, and I'm not quite sure why he allowed it, but that's just my opinion on that. You know what I mean?
Well, and here's another problem too. In the beginning, when I started calling places to get representation, one of them stated that they were unable to represent me because Castor is a coworker of theirs, works under the same company, and was listed on this litigation. So I also have proof of that. I have proof that this prevented me early on from being able to get certain. Now I don't know if that's going to hold any weight, but
that's pretty crazy, actually.
Hey, Touchgrass, you're up here. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think that could?
I think that could be a big. I think was the tactic. In my opinion, I think the tactic was to basically get you to intimidate you and possibly stop you from getting the representation. I think was the tactic, but I could be wrong. But I think that is the possibility.
That's kind of my thoughts too. I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking, is it possible that they just said, "Hey, dude, we just want to use your name for a little bit of leverage. These people are all going to back off. They don't have the money to defend themselves or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever. Use my name, but maybe not necessarily know about it on a actual flat filing." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking
Maybe
that
they just used it for the weight.
But if that's true too, that's still gross misuse.
Hell yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's going to be trouble all around.
Yeah, there is going to be some major problems because that's kind of crazy. I never knew that you had issues getting representation because of the fact his name. Like, that could be a big situation.
Not only did I have a phone call with this attorney who was very interested in representing me, they asked me to send over the complaint. When I sent it over to them via email, they even responded that Bruce Castor's name is on this, so it would be a conflict of interest. So I have all of that. Like, it wasn't just a phone call that I can't prove. It was actual email correspondence with a large firm that I would have loved to have had represent me, but due to Castor's name on there, they couldn't because conflict.
Yeah, and also
That's
they
probably
and probably they were just kind of worried about, like they were like, holy shit, this is this big time attorney. You know what I mean? They probably were thinking in that terms.
Well, I'll be honest. The guy said to me, "I'm shocked that Castor's name is on this." Like, he said, "Wait, Bruce Castor?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "He's a colleague of mine." He said, "I can't imagine that he's involved in this." He said, "Can you send me over a copy of the filing?" I sent it over to him. He called me back and he said, Bruce Castor's name is listed on there. He said, "Therefore, I'm sorry, we can't represent you. It'd be a conflict of interest." And I said, I understand that. I said, but you had mentioned earlier that you couldn't believe. I said, "Do you think that he's literally like..."
He can't answer that.
Well, what he said back to me is go back to what I, remember what I said to you on our first phone call.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. I don't.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it was. A wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of crazy, actually. I can't believe this. I mean, like, you got them by the balls. I feel like you guys got them by the balls, to be honest with you. Because I can't imagine that, I can't imagine what they're going to say in the court, because what is the defense going to be, Mr. Castor? Oh yeah, I knew about it, but I didn't agree to be part of this litigation. Yeah. And they didn't have my permission to put it on there. And then I said, okay, so they didn't have the permission to put your name on there. Yeah. And then they're going to look at Joseph and they're going to be like, okay, is there a retainer agreement between, Mr. Castor and with these plaintiffs? And he's probably going to say no. So that means he didn't represent them. and then he's going to look at the document and says, why is his name on there? And then he's going to try to say, well, it was an error. And he says, well, you know what I mean? Like, that's not, you know, that's not good enough. That's not that, you know, it's not like a pro se litigant where they're like, okay, you fucked up. This is an attorney. This is a real big deal. And now, you know, that's a level of, and then when you have people on YouTube saying, oh, we got the best attorney, we got the caster as our attorney, that's basically like, and then you put on like the intimidation factor into it.
Well, you got said that this is not about money. We just want them to shut up.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to try to pull in some big guns, even if the big guns kind of only know they're barely being pulled in.
Oh my God. This is like, I mean, like if I was, you know, Brittany J, I mean, I would probably, like if I had a brain, if she had a brain in which, you know, she's the scarecrow. She doesn't, you know, she's the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. If I only had a brain, she would be probably saying, listen, I originally signed up because I thought Bruce Castor was being on. Can you take me off? I don't have confidence in this anymore. And then make an argument saying like, well, you know, you can make an argument that these people tricked her. You can try to make an argument that they tricked me. I thought I had competent counsel. My counsels are idiots. Because like realistically, since she's an attorney, like since she's represented by these people, wouldn't she have to like sign a retainer agreement by the attorney that she represented? So technically, she can actually bring, if she loses this anti-SLAPP, she can sue her own attorney. My guess for what is it? What is it called? Incompetence or something like that? I'm trying to remember what it is. It's called.
What's it called?
Well, yeah, basically be saying like your attorneys failed you in a way. But to be honest, ignorance is not an excuse.
Malpractice.
Right.
Malpractice. You can technically. Well, your attorney's supposed to advise you, and if they basically if they basically like you stop helping Wienerhead. Well,
yeah,
listen,
I mean, you kind of are helping her, to be honest.
I am kind of helping her, but like in a way, I'm kind of fucking over Joseph because I'm saying, because he's the bigger ass, in my opinion. Fucking.
I don't think he's ever had a conversation with any of them, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, because like, technically, if she loses this anti-SLAPP and all these people lose this anti-SLAPP, they can all bring a malpractice suit against their attorney because they were signed up under false what is it? Where they thought Castor was on.
Ineffective assistance of counsel. Isn't that what it is? Ineffective assistance of counsel.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with that, right? We pointed out very early on that Castor's signature wasn't there, that Castor's name was removed from this. So at any step throughout this process, they could have removed themselves.
That's going to be his argument when he gets sued. When he gets, because like they could technically, honestly, if they lose this and they owe a bunch of money, they can technically sue Mr. Joseph Lasniak for malpractice and be like, listen, we thought you were representing us, because I don't think they would be counsel for these people without a retainer agreement or some sort of an agreement whereby they're attorneys now, and everything they say to this attorney is attorney-client privilege. So I would think that like he's in big trouble if they decide to just like, if they actually lose, like let's say each of them lose $10,000 to $15,000 each. They can all just go around and say, we need to sue this attorney so we don't have to pay this money. And now you've got 10 plaintiffs suing their own attorney for malpractice.
Not only that, I mean, perhaps, but when you have one of the plaintiffs themselves posting ridiculous PA laws for a civil suit, claiming once again that I'm facing legal or jail time over this, I mean, at some point there's some account. I would even argue on his behalf. I would hand over and say, here, this person was fully aware. They were fully aware there was a chance that Castor. I would help him in that argument because I wouldn't even let her have that one leg up.
Well, you could do that. Let them fight in court. But I'm just saying, like, she'll have to get an attorney to sue him. But the fact is that that's, I think they would probably, if they actually lost, they would actually have a case against their own attorney. But that's just my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be just like completely wrong, but I feel like that is a potential that Joseph has not only risked being reported to the bar, but also being sued by 10 other people for malpractice. And and by the way, he has insurance, by the way, Brittany, wink, wink. So you can actually might be able to, so not only will Granny get paid her money and barbecue lady, but also you get to fuck over this attorney who's an asshole, and you don't get bankrupt. So wink, wink, wink.
Perhaps.
Personally, yeah, I mean, like, you want to get Brittany, but to me, it's like, if everyone gets
But if
paid, this
they
attorney
thought
gets fucked
if
over.
if
I
she
wouldn't
filed
mind.
an agreement with them, then no, she doesn't. You got to
No,
read the
you.
fine print.
Well, no, she got a retainer agreement. She probably got some sort of retainer agreement whereby, like, he says, "Well, I represent you as an attorney for this action," or something.
Right. If
Something
he didn't
to
include Castor on there, then she really doesn't have quite the argument. Unless
maybe.
that agreement said you are being represented by myself and Bruce Castor, it is her duty to reach out to Bruce Castor as an attorney when she's filing along with them to seek out if he is actually representing her.
Well,
That would be
there's
her duty.
other things that can go into play also. Like, let's say she does lose the anti-SLAPP because he's an incompetent moron. That could also, you can also bring that too. But I'm just saying, like, this seems to be there's a lot of risk involved with Mr. Joseph Lasniak taking this case on, because I feel like he's kind of put himself in a bad position. And everyone wants to laugh but to me, it's like the risk doesn't, like, in life, you take risks that, you get some sort of equal award or greater. But this seems like you're taking all this risk for less, like no reward at all. You know what I mean?
For vengeance.
Yeah,
That's why
Yeah.
you don't allow your anger or your dislike of somebody to overcome your common sense. And unfortunately, we have surpassed that. I mean, her declarations alone are something no attorney would ever agree on. One, the odds of having a therapist come in and testify on behalf of your emotional distress are extremely slim to none.
well, what you would have to do is you would have to pay that person as an expert witness. And usually those people that come into court to testify, even in injunctions, they're probably going to charge you $500 to $700 an hour, maybe more, depending on the doctor. So you got to pay them that fee to come in to testify. So who's going to pay that person to come in to testify? Plus, there's a prep. I mean, that's Kopfendorfer's job, by the way, to be an expert witness, where you pay them and you have to do a prep and everything.
Right.
And
That's why emotional distress doesn't really get very far in a courtroom. And then
yeah,
if you just add in the past month alone of streams she has done on me, she dismissed her entire filing with that alone. So, as much as whatever Lasniak did may have been a liability to her, she was a weak,
I'm not
plaintiff
helping.
anyway.
I'm not helping anyone. Listen.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'm just thinking to myself out loud. But personally, I wouldn't mind that, like, they lose a bunch of money and then you decide to sue Joseph Lasniak, and then Joseph Lasniak has to suffer the consequences. To me, like, I would love for them to totally implode on themselves in complete litigation. It'd actually be entertaining. We can all read the filings and laugh at it for the next 2 years. So
that's true.
And you get paid
I have a question.
technically, because the Joseph Lasniak has an insurance probably to defend himself against malpractice or something. So all those broke ass people, suddenly, if they win, you get that money, she gets that money, and everyone fucking and Mr. Joseph Lasniak probably loses the rest of his hair and goes bald. And everyone wins. I mean, like, that's what I think. So that's my opinion.
I don't know. What were you saying, Judge Grace? Yeah.
Okay. So here's my thought. I don't know for sure. That's why I'm asking. But from what my memory tells me, which is shoddy at best, okay, Lesniak is the attorney on record for At Night and represents everybody under At Night, right? So that's where he becomes the attorney. But it seems like Castor is the attorney for Dog, but not At Night. Am I wrong in that thinking?
Yes,
no, you're correct.
You're correct.
So he would have to sign something separate if he's to be included as an attorney on this. It's not just under the At Night.
Yeah,
umbrella.
he would have, number one, he's not an employee of he's not retained by At Night. You would have to have a retainer agreement, my understanding. So, like, even if, like, all these people signed up to work for At Night, I would say, like, which would be kind of tricky. I don't know how that would work, but there had to be some sort of situation where each one of these plaintiffs kind of agree that this is your counsel, because if they don't, then technically attorney-client privilege doesn't exist, and I can just, any attorney can just ask them, what did you talk to Mr. Joseph about?
Right.
If there's no attorney-client privilege, then you can literally come up to them and be like, oh, so the conversation you had with Joseph. Also, like, that's why you don't have, like, third-party people in the room with you when you're with an attorney. So for instance, like, Granny and Granny and her attorney was talking, right? I walk in the room, suddenly that attorney-client privilege is gone. They can
Right.
just start asking me questions left and right about what I heard.
Oh, absolutely. And knowing, again, that there are like group chats called litigation or lawsuit against Granny, all of that can be subpoenaed. Unfortunately, or fortunately for them, I don't think it will go that far. Because I think, in my opinion, I think this will be successful on the anti-SLAPP in the early stages. Then, when I come in later on the SLAPP, we're going to do the SLAPP back, obviously, and then the Dragon Eddy. That's where all that's going to come about. This
Yeah.
idea that we're not countering, once somebody sees, first off, follow my logic here. If this does become a the first successful anti-SLAPP, do you know how many attorneys are going to be signing up in hopes to being part of the countersuit? Because it will
It's going to be epic.
right. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people will do it on contingency basis. So
Yeah, and I think like this is going to be I don't know, man. I think this is like, I don't understand what was the thought process of entering into this injunction. I truly believe that they thought this was going to be a bluff, and
right.
they thought you guys would roll over, and they thought that they would throw the
Yeah.
name Castor on there and scare the shit out of you, much like Betty did.
Yes.
She thought she was going to get like some sort of intimidation tactic, and it didn't quite work out for her 2 years later. Like 2 years later, she's still dealing with it. But
I'm so
like,
sorry for Queen on that, but I can't wait for Betty to get her ass handed to her.
I
I'm
agree.
hoping, but we'll see. Well, hopefully the judge, fucking helps out with that, because the first one was dismissed, but now we gotta hope for this one gets dismissed too, or with prejudice, but we'll see.
Well, and now
Yes.
Queen's argument can also be that Betty tried to tie her into these allegations over in Pennsylvania, alleging RICO, when
Yes.
there is zero connection to RICO. They added RICO to give weight to their fallacious claims. That's it. It's a head grabber, right? RICO, Dog the Bounty Hunter files RICO. That's why my attorney makes that very clear.
Well,
Yeah.
and they've now connected into this case where Betty absolutely has all these restraining orders against her for turning it into a harassment, a personal vendetta and attack, which
Well,
is what they're doing against Queen.
one of her statements, Betty, was like, "I am not a criminal." Well, now you are. And I do not harass or stalk families. Well, you have court orders for that.
She
Like,
identified as innocent.
I did not have sexual relations with JLR. Well, you just admitted that and said there's some other crazy things. It's like, it's her case is fucked. I mean, like, and I personally think it was an intimidation tactic. And much like I think Mr. Joseph Lazniak was going to do, he thought he could just intimidate a bunch of YouTubers, and thought he could throw some big names in there, and he would push his weight, and you guys would just roll over and not make the money. And I think like,
well, they literally did beat him, because don't forget, part of their injunction was that we can't raise money for attorney fees.
yeah,
That was done with the purpose of trying to scare us to be like, oh shit, if I can't raise money, they know I'm a single mom, I don't have much of an income, what other choice do I have but to bail? Especially when they are saying that they're going to host a press conference in my neighborhood.
yeah, and which I thought, I was like, kind of thought to myself, like, how crazy would that be if they actually thought that was a brilliant idea? And I think they really just did that I don't think they ever had the intentions of being that stupid to do that. I think they basically were hoping to scare you with that. Like, I think this
That's
whole
what I
thing.
mean. It was an intimidation tactic. They were offering settlements before I was even served.
Yeah, and it's
That's a
just
big
that.
I
deal.
wish some media would pick up on this, like some, local real media, and pick up on this about real, but you know what I'm saying?
We haven't
Because it's all so underhanded.
we haven't reached
You
out
know,
to them yet, touch grass, but we do plan on it. I'll just say
Oh,
that
good.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
and unfortunately, I think like the issue is that a lot of times, people like these guys have some sort of connection with these media companies that they can call up and say, "Can we be on your show?" Whereby YouTubers do not have that type of connection. Unfortunately, it's just not that. It's not there.
That's kind of what I meant by real media, like getting it out there beyond, like, court TV or the docket or whatever. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
like our local
Those
news,
people
like,
who won't say anything.
Yeah.
and especially now that well, thank you, Tammy Clips, but yeah, like I know what you're saying, like the actual like Good Morning America and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
and the
just can't.
local stations that covered all this stuff when had to, whoever, when Nick actually got arrested to begin with, right? And they covered all
Yeah.
this.
Uh-huh.
That those reporters need to be made aware because they've got stuff coming here, you know?
I just can't believe how Joseph Lasniak fucked himself so badly.
Well, and if you
I can't even fathom it, to be honest with you.
And if you add in, like, all right, so Dog the Bounty Hunter is, I mean, literally, think of the headliner. Dog the Bounty Hunter and Associates file a RICO claim against up to 50 YouTube creators. I mean, and even the headline is, hey, this is freedom of speech. You are alleging that because we have similar content, because you disagree with our opinions, that make us part of a RICO organization. But anybody who's even familiar with the way social media works, it is the algorithm. That's not RICO. And if you want to accuse that of being RICO, then go after YouTube, go after TikTok. But you don't get to put that on us. I mean, that's not RICO. And Oki, you're right. I mean, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, money to me is not the priority. Clearing my name of these fallacies and the smear that has gone on against me since October 18th, that is my goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll see. I mean, you never know with courts. You really, I mean, like we can all speculate, but I think this is going to be a very interesting. At the very least, this is going to be a very interesting court case. That's going to, injunction that's going to happen.
It's
And
going
I
to be
think
big.
It's
it's
definitely
gonna,
going to set some precedent. And it's going to be referred to for years to come. Honestly.
yeah. I mean, we're going to see what happens, but I think, like, I truly do think Mr. Lasniak and put himself, like, Nick has no life. He's fucked. He's fucked his entire life over. But Mr. Lasniak has not fucked his entire life over. He has his own practice. He has money. He's some kind of respect in that community, and he's completely thrown in the trap. He's possibly thrown that. Well, you know what I mean, like, as an attorney.
Well, and here's the thing, right? So, like Rumor says here, very interesting case about slander versus slander. You're wrong. The statements they have in there, the slanderous statements, they have me quoted as saying, I've never said. Right. And that is part of what I am going to return on a countersuit, is that they have slandered me via this filing. They have accused me horrifically of defamation per se. You are alleging that I am part of a RICO, and then literally stated that if you get rid of me, if you get me out of the way, that this child will be brought home. And his father quoted saying, I will have blood on my hands. They're huge things to put on somebody as a content creator because you don't like my coverage of your son's disappearance. You don't like my opinions.
Yeah, I think this is not good for Mr. Joseph Lasniak. I think the sad thing is, like, money had to be wasted for this bullshit, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
and time. And it's, but it's going to be one interesting situation. Like, I think this is going to, this probably, in my opinion, if you guys actually get a victory with an anti-SLAPP, this could be, like, really big. Like,
it would be really big. It would go down in case history as the first successful. So anybody thereafter that files an anti-SLAPP will then reference our case. Like, it would be case law. And it is a huge thing. I don't think people realize, like, take just YouTube out of it. This is my neighborhood. This is where my kids go to school. This is the stores I visit. This is literally where I sleep. They brought this in my own neighborhood, accusing me of such horrendous things. And again, what they put in there, first off, Lasniak himself tweeted out Pennsylvania laws on doxing. I've never doxed. By your own Pennsylvania laws, I've never doxed. Maybe you should have looked further into what you were alleging against me before placing a signature. Secondly, saying I ever called Seth Rogers the P word is just false within itself. I never done that. Never called him a murderer. Ever, ever, ever. Never said BJ was involved in that person. Everything they wrote, everything that would fall under the guise of defamation, they cannot prove in a court of law because it never fucking happened.
Yeah,
they defamed me through this filing, which is why the moment they filed it on October 18th at like 1:28, by 1:30, you had somebody sending it into Molly Golightly's Discord, somebody that happens to live in the same state and same town as a plaintiff, with her to go live about. And by that night, all over internet, on a Friday night, I was being accused of these horrendous things, knowing it was a weekend, and then I was being strong-armed into settle before they go into a presser on my local steps. For anybody who doesn't think that this was SLAPP, intimidation, a strong-arm tactic, please take your feelings out of it.
Yeah,
Granny,
this is
when they were offering you to settle and they were talking about the press conference on the local courthouse steps, had you even been served at that time?
No, I
no.
wasn't
I
served
didn't think
until a
so.
month later.
Yeah, she
That's
wasn't
what I
served.
thought.
Yeah, they were trying. It was a pure intimidation tactic, and I think it's backfired. It's already backfired, and I think like when like people like who are still kind of just willfully ignorant, I'm like, you guys need to get a canary in your mind because you guys the mind is filling up with carbon dioxide, and you're about to all fucking suffocate in it. Because like the connect like Uncle Taco and Aunt Burrito or whatever were the smartest ones of that group.
Absolutely. That was shocking that they were the smartest ones.
Because they just said to themselves, fuck this, I am out. Because they knew, I mean, listen, they probably knew this guy was full of shit.
I found out people started blowing up my phone that Molly was live. I didn't even have the filing. And then you had whatchamacallit on there saying I was lying, that I was fully aware of this filing. I had no idea of this filing at all.
No,
The whole thing.
they did the same tactic, and this is what I think. They did the same tactic with Queen. They gave the filing, like Betty gave the filing to this was before Queen was even served. They gave it to Dolly. I bet.
Right.
You know?
That's a huge problem within itself. Like you usually you don't do that because then, you know, you kind of just further. No, here's the difference. Shiloh, thank you. Black Hawk, here's where you are mistaken. Seth Rogers is a public figure who is in a national news coverage case. He's up for discussion, especially when he made himself a YouTuber. Okay, because now he's a YouTuber. Don't forget that either. So I have every right under the United States Constitution to discuss public happenings.
Yeah,
this isn't like I went into somebody's private life and started. No, this is public. This is a public matter.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing with Chris and Katie. Like, yeah, you can talk about Chris and Katie because they are public figures at this point.
Right.
Now, that's just how it is. It's just.
And what kills me even more, B. Tim, I'm glad you brought that up, is the people that do talk about Chris and Katie, they do it in such a disparaging, matter-of-fact way. They literally changed. They changed the reward amount for a missing child to dox an address of the Bowersox. Okay? So these people don't even have clean hands. You're upset that I replayed his own interviews and commentated and what they labeled in the filing a sarcastic way to persuade the minds of my audience. Look at what you're all doing and have been doing since then. You don't have clean hands.
Yeah, this is going to be a disaster for these people. I just don't think, and I can't wait. You know, like for me, my favorite thing to watch, and this is my favorite thing, is when the prideful fall. Like when you know when people are full of pride. Oh, we're gonna beat you. This is gonna be the biggest. You know, and then when all their hopes and dreams are just dashed onto the rocks of reality, just like you know just like onto the shores of rocks of reality. They jumped up, they thought they would fly to the sky, and then they fell right into the rocks of reality. And then, you know, suddenly they realized that last moment before hitting that rocks of reality that they fucked up is my probably the most favorite thing to see to ever, you know, throughout my time.
Mm-hmm. And I will never apologize. I will never have to apologize to anybody because I never accused Seth Rogers of a crime. What would I be apologizing on? The fact that I find his behaviors to be despicable? My opinion is that no, that's not apology worthy, my friend. Yeah, because even if he was innocent, the things that we have seen of him and spoke on are opinion based, and it doesn't matter that you know if he comes out to be innocent or not, because I never accused him of being guilty, so it wouldn't matter.
It's about the stuff that came out of his own damn mouth too.
Right, as a public speaker on public forums, on public interviews.
I mean, this is a guy that did a lot of ridiculous things on these panels, and then you know to suddenly think that no one should criticize him, but yet you guys can sit around and criticize, you know, Chris and Katie from up to down. It's kind of crazy to me. You know, like you got, you know what I mean? I just don't get it.
That's the clean hand calls, right? Like you were trying to, which is why if you'll notice in the filing, the attorney does say something along the lines of, you know, they organized this. Basically, this is the organization, a criminal organization right here. These people all work together to set out this big scheme in which they were going to accuse us of RICO and all these other defamatory things that never took place because their end goal is to further make the Proudfoots look guilty.
Yeah, which to me is kind of sad because in the end of the day, you don't need to prove someone looks guilty. You can just let the evidence speak for itself. But it seems like a very big campaign by this group of people to do it because there's a monetary gain to it. Like
Exactly.
basically, Seth is the golden calf, and they're all trying to get a piece of that calf, basically.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, look at them
Steve
now.
Fisher,
Sorry, go ahead.
Steve's opposition even brought up the clean hands clause when he
Mhm.
filed the opposition to this. So
Exactly.
it's going to be in there too. You know what I mean? The judge is going to see that too. And I would think because this is a precedent case, that the
Mhm.
judge is going to be super thorough. And even if, oh my gosh, how did I forget his name? The other attorney, not Lesniak,
Pastor.
but thank you, Castor. Even if he does not press any kind of charges or try to bring up anything against Lesniak, the judge will. The judge will sanction his ass. I can't see him not sanctioning him, especially in a precedent case with so many eyes
I
on it. And he
Mhm.
has that discretion to do so.
Yeah,
You
I don't
know,
know. I mean, like maybe the judge would do that, but I think like this is a mess. I mean, if I was the plaintiff in this situation, I would be kind of freaking out because not only did you find out that Castor, it's confirmed that he is not signed up, he's not your attorney, and now that he is literally saying I had no clue about this, and now your attorney might have at the very most did a malpractice a form of malpractice where he completely fucked up, and it's right there. But now you're finding out that the state he does his injunction just 3 months after they pass a new anti-SLAPP in the state,
Mhm.
making you liable for the money that you spend. And not only that, you're probably going to have to come down or do a Zoom to testify. And not only that, they have all now you're facing another attorney that has a 20 like a person that's like a super lawyer and a bunch of other lawyers, and like you're I think they really just fucked up. Like this is a disaster.
I don't
I would
think
be
any
so
of them are smart enough to freak out.
I'd
I
be
think they're
freaking
going to
out.
listen to whatever's told to them and they're going to be like, oh, no, it's fine. They're just lying. They don't know what they're talking about. It's fine. Honestly, I don't think they're smart enough to
Yeah,
worry about where this is going to end up.
I would be freaking out. I would be 100% freaking out right now. I would probably be being like, what the hell is going on? What is the games being played here? Because this is my life. You people have said that you're going to help me with this situation, and now I'm finding out that I could be owing upwards of all the attorney's fees by 3x. Like, what
But
the
that's
fuck is
something
this?
that they have an
Beautiful.
obligation to research that before they put their declarations in. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
100%.
absolutely.
Yep.
ignorance isn't an excuse in any account of law. There, it's
I,
just not. And then
oh,
adding Castor's name was an obvious intimidation tactic because, again, go back to the first month and a half of them dropping this on the social media. Most people highlight it on Castor alone. The amount of videos I have of people boistering about Castor, the amount of threats I received about how screwed I am because Castor's part of this. How would I think I know more than a former DA and la di da, and Castor was never even aware of it? Yeah, that's all going to be used against them.
I have no doubts that they gloated about this. That they basically felt that they were going to win, and there was going to be this big victory that they were going to have. But I don't think they quite realized. I think at this point, if I was in their position, I'd be like telling them like, "Oh, this is not the victory that you thought was going to be the case." I
Well,
think you
here's my
guys.
real question, B Tim. I think it's not even a question. This is my statement. I believe some of the plaintiffs fully believed what they were signing on to because they wanted it to be true. They put their guidance in the wrong person who obviously knew better, right? These people aren't new. I mean, look, Tony Mathis isn't new to lawsuits. He said as much over on
Oh
little
yeah,
Joshy's thing over there. When it
yeah.
came to the Seth being sued, he said, they said, well, you're not new to lawsuits. Some of these people should have known better, which is why I believe they thought that their intimidation was going to have us crumble.
Yeah, and I think honestly, if he didn't get the support from the community, and if and barbecue didn't get money from a friend or some money from
Exactly.
people, I think they would have worked. I think it would have 100% worked, and I think that intimidation. So, that's how this stuff works. They prey
Yep.
on people that just don't have money. Like they just do that all the time and
And
scare you.
and he said it. Lori, thank you so much. He said as much. Nick said most people want to settle with us. He said that.
Yeah.
Eberk, nobody said that. So you're saying this isn't about finding Sebastian, it's about which side is more gross. Got it. This filing absolutely is not about finding Sebastian. Yep.
Um. Yeah,
Betty herself says it. Again, it's quoted in our filing. Betty herself says, a lot of people think that this filing has to do with Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It doesn't.
yeah, and I also have to say, like, you can't blame the YouTubers defending themselves against this filing for this filing. You know, it's kind of like defending the abuser by saying, well, she was the one that wanted to, you know, she could have defending the abuser for the abusee for defending themselves by eventually punching out the abuser. I feel like, well, you shouldn't have done that because that just makes it, you know, two wrongs don't make a right. It's like, no, the people who are defending themselves in this case are defending themselves because they're forced to defend themselves. They had no choice but to defend themselves.
We didn't sign up for this.
For all of YouTubers in the future to keep from having to go through something like
well,
this.
Even if they don't fight for all the YouTubers, they're fighting for the fact that, you know, this could cause, you know, this is just an unfair situation that is occurring.
It's a trickle effect. This will absolutely affect. Say by any chance they end up being successful, right? This then leaves anybody who's covered the Karen Reed case of being accused of being RICO. Anybody who's covered Wade Wilson, you're accused of being RICO. Anybody who's covered the Wasp case. If any of them have covered this in a similar format, you then can be accused of RICO because you covered in a similar format. Stupid. It's absolutely
exactly.
And it's just a very outrageous thing to accuse people of.
With no merit, too. Like, I want people to remember that part. There is no literal merit to their claims.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was to bolster and make it seem more intense than it was, including them calling it federal. Right. What happened to the so-called federal element? There is none. You had people saying, I'm facing up to 20 years in jail. Do you know what kind of emotional distress that does to somebody? I mean, you can't go around doing these things. You can't put people under this type of stress.
I remember like the first 10 days or so. I mean, you could hardly even get on here and speak at times. Right. It was so devastating to you. And I understand that. I mean, how could it not be? And here they are thinking that it's all just fun and games. It's not. What it has done to you alone is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, you should never have to go through that.
Not only that, but for others,
I remember that. It was hard.
And you have others that are putting in like the impact this has had on their children. This is my neighborhood with my kids. My kids, you know what I mean? Like, this is literally where we fucking live.
Yeah, they go to school there. It's crazy. What they're doing is wrong. It is wrong on every level. And I can't wait to see it stopped. You know, I think you guys will be successful for sure.
I do as well. I'm very, very confident. Not only do I appreciate my attorneys, but I know without a doubt that barbecue's attorneys are like top notch. Like they know what they're doing. And I'm confident. Again, I had to call and I spoke with, and I shit you not, at least over 30 attorneys. From the day this was dropped on that Friday till, you know, I was finally served. I spoke with over 30 attorneys. Call any of them and give them a rundown of this case and see what they say to you. They will say the same thing that was said to me. This is a strong arm. This is, you know, I mean, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and you know, and people don't realize, they think, oh, well, she's making up. But yeah, it takes a long time to search for an attorney for especially an online case.
Oh,
because unfortunately, a lot of attorneys don't want to deal with it. They don't want to deal with the BS.
Well, here's another thing I got, beats him, was these people seem like they don't have any morals. And if I put my name on this filing, am I going to end up getting harassing phone calls?
Yeah.
Am I going to be attacked? Am I going to be doxxed all over the internet? That was another issue.
Yeah. What
that
do you think?
A lot of attorneys found.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with Queen's attorney. It's like, you know,
exactly.
He did this thing, you know, like that's what Betty was doing. I mean, that's why it's so tough to
and
deal with.
Did they spoof emails or something from her attorney? Like,
no, that was another channel that did it. Pretended to, when they got a copyright claim, they pretended to be Queen's attorney, but he's handled it separately. That has nothing to do with Queen. That's him. Like, if he decides to pursue legal matters with that person, then that's his decision. You know.
Okay, I thought that was a BHB thing. Okay.
Yeah, some people. I mean, like, we don't know who. I mean, like, personally, I think Queen knows who's gotten that channel, but we'll see. I mean, but it's more up to that attorney if he wants to pursue that shit.
Right. Okay. Because it would have been him being impersonated.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with Queen. You know, it's not like her thing where she's gonna have to pay or do something. It's him, because, you know, and he might not want to pursue it. He might just, you know, it depends, and he's working on that. So it is what it is.
And
But
people are saying, like, when will be the first court date? I personally, I don't know. What I can tell you is that they have till a certain time to respond at the
yeah,
very minimum, and then a judge will then put in for a hearing.
yeah. Anyway, I gotta go. You have a good one.
Thank you, Tim, because that's what it comes down to. They have to go into court. Once we do that, they have to show that they are able to meet the merits in which their case is based on. So they have to prove emotional distress, loss of income, loss of business perspectives. They have to prove defamation. They have to prove that they can make the case for RICO. I don't know about any of you, but I think it's going to be a
I don't see that
very,
happening.
yeah. I mean, again, there is no RICO. It's absolutely. Could this be a perjury case? I'm not sure either. What they're asking for? I'm glad you asked. So in the front of the filing, they mark off where it says, are you asking for money? They put no. By the end of the filing, they are asking for money. By Nick's comments here on YouTube, he says they're not asking for money. Then he says we can pay them $500. What exactly are they asking for? They're asking for our freedom of speech to be taken. That's what they're asking for, ultimately. When you get down past all the 300 and something pages, that's what it comes down to. They are asking for us to no longer be able to criticize them.
Exactly.
It's just
But if you were
crazy.
criticizing Chris and Katie, then they wouldn't care about your freedom of speech. You can have it.
Right. Then
Yeah.
it would be praise. I mean, literally, the perfect example of that would be no other than Dolly. Dolly was being threatened. He started a GoFundMe because he was mentioned. And then the one night he went live and he started going in hard again at Chris and Katie. And Nick came in and said, I misunderstood you. So just like that, he was now safe from the filing.
Yeah, because I remember when he was going against Seth for a little while there.
Mm-hmm. And in that time that, when he was calling out like the satellite footage and all that, that's when he, during his stream, said that he literally, Nick tweeted, threatening him. And he started dropping his GoFundMe for the attorney fees to fight his freedom of speech. And then literally 3 days later, he's going at Chris and Katie. And suddenly the green team is in there supporting him and telling him, you're okay.
He rolled over and showed his belly just like a good dog.
Just
Sorry,
like a good
Dolly,
dog.
but it's true.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that comment. Hey, Duchess. I would ask BJ and D post how many alt accounts she has. They don't realize. That's the thing. And like Nonsense just said up here, even them just adding Dog the Bounty Hunter made it tougher. Like, you got to look at, like, all of that comes in when you do the countersuit. The taking down my GoFundMe, the allegations I'm going to jail, the claiming that this is federal, the harassment of using Bruce Castor and his reputation for further intimidation, the slander, the defamation, all of that. It all comes in. I don't think people understand that. Yeah, JLR is going pretty wild on Twitter. I will say the one thing he did I totally disagree with is bringing Tony's son into it. I don't agree with that. Tony's son has nothing to do with what Tony's doing. Not that I'm aware of.
No, kids, stay out of it.
Here, let me show you.
I'm in background, Granny. It looks like my husband's getting here, so.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up, Touchgrass. It was so nice to have you up here.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come hang out. Sometimes my hands don't work so good, so it's just easier to get on and talk than to try to type. So.
Well, you're welcome anytime. Seriously, I mean that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Huh?
Well, that's the thing, Russ. That's the thing. It does it. And I've been screaming that from the beginning. The way you can manipulate an audience on YouTube and the way you can present things, you can play the little music and start off the tone the right way. You can do all of that via social media, but it doesn't work the same way in front of the courts of law. It doesn't work the same way in front of the judge. The judge goes into this completely unbiased. They don't know about your little crying and can't pay the bills and all. They don't know and they don't care. They take it at face value without any parasocial relationship, and they take it for what it is. And when you present this to anybody outside of YouTube who is not completely indulged in this fuck shit, you too will see that this is insane. Literally, take this filing to anybody and ask their opinion on it. So this is what, Listen, my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe at the end of the day, this is all to get back at JLR for hurt feelings. And if that's the case, go after JLR, because I don't have any type of, ruling under him or nothing. I have no type of relationship with JLR in any type of way that would, connect, if you will. So, JLR, Seth Rogers' mother, Robin Rogers, claims that Katie Proudfoot passed multiple polygraph tests. Claims Chris Proudfoot passed his polygraph. This was a post she made in the spring, around the time she stopped publicly supporting her own son. And that is true. I had a long discussion with the special agent in charge of the TBI today. I just want to clarify a few things and hopefully help stop some of this drama. I'm so sick to death of all the trauma vultures out there and conspiracy theorists. I want all this to stop and for the focus to be where it should be, finding Sebastian. 1, TBI has interviewed both Chris and Katie Proudfoot extensively. 2, they have both been polyed and passed. Yes, Katie took more than one poly and passed. Oh, absolutely it has, Kenda. Hello.
Hey.
We got a slight echo.
Oh, is it better?
It is better. How you doing?
Okay. So, good. I just want to say, and I'm going to speak for 50 plus people. If y'all don't want me speaking for you, raise your hand. But for the people that were, went on panels, that were in chats, that were named in this bullshit, me being one, even though they didn't spell my name right, thank you. Thank you for being strong. Thank you to this community for everybody supporting Granny, Barbecue, Queen. If y'all really look at the RICO, I couldn't read through all of it because, anyway. But a lot of it did read like another lawsuit. A lot of feelings and like a community post kind of thing. A lot of almost the exact same wording. It's kind of odd in parts of it. So, I truly thank you for being. They messed with the wrong one, and this is exactly what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to shut up. They wanted everybody to shut up, and then that way they could just do all the trash. In this case, with on the back of a missing child, young man. And they could do it all and nobody could say anything. And then, okay, and then give me $500. Seems like $500 is like a magic number to some people. Previously, if you think about it, somebody else had to pay, $500. But personally, from me, and like I said, raise your hand if you were named and you don't want me speaking about you. If not, oh well, I am. But thank you, because we just come here to get away from real life, or this is our form of entertainment, and we do have friends on here, and I really appreciate you doing this, and everybody that has supported everybody in all of the lawsuits. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And not only that, Rowena, but it wasn't even just us as creators. They were going after subscribers too. The amount of subscribers.
Amy's name was put in it, for fuck's sakes. People that were just in chat. So, learn how to spell my name. And, but.
I mean, and that's what I don't understand. Like, I know there's quite a few creators who are plaintiffs in this, but go ask any other creator, hey, how would you feel if your coverage on a topic led to you being accused of RICO? This is a trickle down effect. I mean, I even have Nick bragging like this is going to make new changes on YouTube and this and that, and this is going to be the first successful RICO through the internet. That's not how any of this works, and it's not okay. It's just simply not okay.
Well, maybe he should have read the Constitution,
Right.
And
the same thing
and
he
all the things.
For.
Yeah. Freedom of speech, all the Bill of Rights, do an ethics class, all the things. But
now, Rowena, they're asking, how did you know your name is added? Do you want to explain where that came from?
From Queen's panel. It's added like 6 times. Yeah.
So what they did, on November, I believe it was the 6th, it was the same day I was served. What they did was they put in to amend the complaint. And in that, they said they were adding more, whatchamacallits, more defendants.
Named, yeah,
They were adding more names. And you'll see in our filings, mine as well as barbecues, we mention that there are a lot of people being accused of a lot of things in here that have nothing to do with her or I. And they did that, again, in my belief, was to remove Bruce Castor without doing it the right way, because they didn't want all of you that boistered their claims on the basis of having the former DA sign in on it, being part of it, to realize that they bullshitted all of you. So they tried to be slick. They asked for an amendment. They asked for a break from the course to do the amendment. They never attached the amendment because, in my belief, they never had any intent. And I've been saying this before this text came out. They never had any intentions on following through with that amendment. I don't
correct,
believe that they thought this was going to go anywhere. Hence what Nick
correct.
says right here. So I don't get, but at night has no intent of adding you to the suit. It was to see if someone would react.
Yep.
That proved what I've been saying for weeks now, which is they
Yep.
have no intentions, because guess what, Rowena? They did not have to, they didn't have to seek the court's permission to amend. They simply could have amended it.
Right. And I mean, I can tell you, I mean, I found out that my name was in it, I forget how many times, but, and the first thing I did, at first I was like, oh my God. I mean, at first you do kind of, I mean, I did take a deep breath and go, oh shit, you know, my mouth got me in trouble again, you know, and then I was like, wait a minute, I didn't say anything. What? And then I had to go back, and then I had to track it down and read, you know, and read and all the things. And then I just laughed. I was like, please, put me in a box. Put me in a witness box. I would be your worst nightmare. I would, oh my God. You know, the court reporter wouldn't be able to spell the words that I could come out of my mouth. But, you know, and it's, but it is scary. And I don't live where Granny lives. This is not my real life. There was 50 something people that were like named in it, but were not like defendants. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like two different, it's like apples and oranges. It's two different things, but they're both fruit, you know?
Right.
And it is scary. It is. So I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate, you know,
The support, man. Absolutely.
well, and I appreciate your strength. And I think that truly once this, I don't feel that, I think you have a super strong case. Like, oh my God. Um, and I think when whatever happens, I think it will be granted. In my opinion, I think it will. I think you'll get the anti-SLAPP. I think it will become case law, and I think that you will not have to reach out to media. That media is going to be knocking in on all of your doors, wanting interviews for this.
Yeah,
I
because
really
this is
do.
going to be big, and then you're
It
going to
is.
have to get on in the news, and you're going to, yeah. I mean, a lot of these, even just going through these declarations, there's a lot of inconsistencies within them, and I'm not going to lie. There are several people that know. There were several times I went to them and I said, I can't fucking do this. Like,
Yeah.
I got to seek out an agreement because I can't fucking do this. I can't sign myself up to an hourly rate and be able to take care of my family the way I
Yep.
need to. This is too
Yep.
much. Like, it was
And
too much
people.
financially, mentally, emotionally. I'm fucking exhausted. Like, I
Yep.
am so fucking tired.
And people don't realize I was in a 3-year lawsuit, and people don't realize, and I didn't have to pay a dime, right? It was a medical malpractice suit, and I didn't have to pay a dime out of my pocket, and had 6 attorneys, right, from another state that flew in and the whole bit, and we won and all that. But that was 3 years of stress. That was 3 years of stress on my family, because when mama's stressed, you can try to hide it, but your kids know that you're stressed.
Absolutely.
Your family knows that you're stressed, and so and you have to also think too what was actually in that filing. It's not just at night, but Granny was accused of harming BJ's children's lives, and wow, just wow. So But yeah,
And then if I defend myself against that, I'm attacking kids, so you can't
yeah,
fucking win there.
oh yeah. Well, it is what it is. But you know, and I've always said it. There's some, and there's not just one person, but there's several Betty 2.0s, and until you pop that little tail and say you might want to rethink what you're doing. I'm not the one. Then they'll keep on doing it. And that's why we encouraged Queen to countersue Betty, because instead of Betty doing, and I mean, look what she did. It was like it was all dismissed, and she refiled it.
Right.
So
Well, that's why
it's like,
we put in there in very, very clear language that we want this dismissed with prejudice.
okay,
So
good.
they can't seek it back out.
Good. I was gonna ask that too, if you did with prejudice. Okay, good,
Yeah,
good,
absolutely.
good.
And for people that say, "Oh, Britney's never gone real life," this is as far real life as you can fucking go.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, insanely as
yeah,
far as you can go.
yeah.
Thank you, Mama
And
Michelle. And you know what else, Rowena, that really, people are like, and I've had this discussion again with it, people outside of here to say, like, I'm not looking, as much as I dislike Brittany, and I mean disdain, strong disdain. I've been saying this for months. I try not to speak on her because of how much I sincerely dislike her.
yep,
I'm not looking, like, my end result is not to like bankrupt people. Like, I'm not looking, the financial will be great and it will be well spent, but that is
right.
not my end goal. My end goal is to clear myself of these allegations and these slanderous remarks that have been going on and have been used as a hammer over my head since the day it was filed. And I have
And
been in contact with the ACLU. I have been
and,
since day
and
one. Thank you,
why?
Kelly.
And why, just because you're on YouTube, why do you not have that right? If you weren't on YouTube, and let's say this was your neighbor, okay? Let's say this was a coworker. Let's say it was whatever. You still have that right. Just because it's on YouTube, people think, oh, this isn't real life. Yeah, it is. This is as real life as it gets. When you sign your name, and you signed your name, girl, signed that name. When you signed your name, you agreed to all this, and
Hmm.
you saw free, and you saw, I'll shut her up.
Revenge
And
on me. And she
mm-hmm,
herself hasn't shut up. That's the biggest
right,
takeaway. You're seeking a court to intercept because you're so afraid of me, but yet you poke at me daily, even on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day. I mean, it doesn't stop. And people say, "Well, Granny, you do it too." You respond, "Yes." But I also did not ask the courts to intercept. I did not put a dramatic fucking plead in straight from a Lifetime movie docket. Okay. I didn't do that. She did. The minute she did that, if she wanted to be even semi-successful at this, she should have shut the fuck up.
yep. Well, it, it and all
Right.
of it just makes me so sick, because the root of all this, the what all this spins around. There's one person all this spins around, and it was done off Sebastian's name.
Absolutely. And you
If
have
Sebastian
Betty.
had not gone missing, we wouldn't have Seth. We wouldn't have. I mean, we still have the YouTube
We
weirdos,
wouldn't know of them.
but we wouldn't know. Right, none of this would have happened. And they even say in their RICO, that you know, and Betty said, this isn't about Sebastian, but then it's about Sebastian. So
They right,
yeah,
Rowena. What they did was they added Sebastian to this to play on the emotional strings of
right,
everybody, which I've
right,
been stating to people for months. They have
right,
really weaponized people's love and concern for a missing child, and the best wishes for his well-being, but by to create this divide that gave them some type of leverage when they came out here screaming, "We're going to seek them out through the legal system." People supported that on the basis that getting rid of us is going to help bring Sebastian home, which to all
right,
of those that believed it, ask yourselves how they can confidently say that. It's a little concerning within itself.
right. It is, and it's so sad. It's so sad, and but it is what it is. But thank you so much for doing this, for staying strong. Don't give up. You've got a community behind you, and we've got you. It's okay, and I know it's stressful. You know, go scream in a pillow every now and then. You know,
Oh, believe me, I do.
working. Work on something. Take 10 minutes a day for just you. do whatever at that time. If it's eating a box of Little Debbie brownies, or we call them Big Deborah brownies, or getting in a hot tub, or whatever. Take 10 minutes a day to just 100% decompress and just know that we thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, that's the other thing. Like, I haven't even been able to keep my regular streaming schedule.
Yeah.
There's days I can't even get myself to go live. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, it's affected me in more ways than people realize. And I know, again, a lot of people dislike me. That's fine. You can say you dislike me. I attacked the father of a missing child. But at the end of the day, the mother and the stepfather have a say as well. So I don't have to. And I was more than willing. Let me make this very clear, too, for those who don't understand. I was more than willing to make an agreement to stop speaking on Seth Rogers himself. Okay? I'm not cold-hearted. I understand this father, whether I agree with his antics or not, I understand he is a grieving father. I've never doubted, I've publicly stated many times, I've no doubt in my mind that he loves Sebastian. I've no doubt in my mind he's missing him. If this finally came from simply Seth Rogers, I would have, without a doubt, boom, yes, sir, I've respected and stopped. But when you
Right.
add declarations of fallacies, Betty claiming I'm the reason she was arrested in Tennessee, no,
Yeah.
ma'am, I will see you in a courtroom.
Well, she's also, Tony blamed Queen on that body cam footage. He had Queen in his mouth. Queen did it. Everybody's done it.
Right, and then they blamed it on Clue. So it was Queen,
Right.
then it was Clue, then it was Texana, and that, and then now all of a sudden in the filing is me. When anybody, especially a courtroom, is going to be able to look and say, well, that's like saying, Granny made you commit a crime. I didn't.
Yeah.
I
Right.
can't be the reason you are arrested either. Or like, for example, Nick saying, oh, they're having me muzzled by my parole officer. If you weren't doing wrong, your parole officer couldn't muzzle you. You can
Yeah.
report my channel to YouTube. If I'm not doing wrong, YouTube's not going to punish me. So,
Correct.
I'm
Correct.
not the reason Betty was arrested. And how fucking dare she even try to put that on me to add a little leg into this fallacy of a lawsuit?
Well, Betty's the reason why Betty was arrested.
Right.
I mean, come on now. I mean, and it what I don't blame Seth or Tony or anybody for the reason why Betty was arrested. Betty did what Betty did, and so now Betty's gonna pay the price. But
Right. And let's not forget when Betty did come out of that last court hearing. Thank you, Jules, so much. When she came out of that last court hearing, they kept saying they had a plan up their sleeve. They had a plan
Yep.
up their sleeve. Seth Rogers literally quoted saying, if they took away one of my voices, now they're whatever. What was the quote?
They took away one of my voices. They took away one of my voices. Now they're gonna hear my voice.
Right.
And
then
Tony went up on Josh's. He went up on the Assless Chaps channel. I think a couple of days after that, and even said before this came out, he even said right after that hearing that they were going to do things.
That they had a big plan.
Mm-hmm.
They have a way to help Betty. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And this was their big plan.
And Betty has said for years that there should be a class action lawsuit.
Yep.
There should be a class action lawsuit. And she has said it for years. And like I said, if people would take the time, you don't have to read the 300 pages, but, and if you compare, a lot of the sentences are the same. It just,
And Betty has that personal vendetta against JLR where she really believes that JLR is like the head of a RICO.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that that's where this is all coming from, especially when the metadata shows as much.
I think it was very interesting when Queen came out with that thing that Nick had blocked her, and it was because somebody told him. I wish he would have said to somebody, but somebody told him that Queen and JLR called his parole officer, and Queen's like, I've never spoke to JLR. He's got me, 10 ways to Jesus, and and then he unblocked Queen. I just
right.
I wish I knew who that somebody, somebody told him that.
Right here. Fuck. I'm sorry then about blocking you. I don't know. I have thick skin, but it's a low blow when people call parole. I believe them. BHP wasn't one who said it. I don't trust anyone except the people. Here's the thing. I was on Queen's panel when I publicly pleaded out to all of you not to contact his parole officer. because that parole officer
Right.
has more than just the parolee of Nick, and they
Right.
have to document every single call that comes in, whether they believe it or not, which gives so much work to them. I
Right.
said that. I spoke against calling his parole officer.
Right.
And he
Right.
put that in his filing. Oh, they caught. No, I can prove that. I don't. I'm not respond. Listen, the other thing they wanted, Roro, they wanted me to tell my audience, my subscribers of now over 15,000, to cease and desist. You can't fucking put that on me.
No, and if anybody told me to shut up, yeah, good luck on that. My husband's been telling me that for almost 38 years, so there's that, and it ain't worked
Right.
yet. So,
I mean, you just can't do that. You can't tell me that I'm responsible for all the subscribers.
right.
It's
Well,
asinine.
they wanted you silenced, and they wanted the community silenced, so they could just say or do anything off of Sebastian's name, and
Right,
that
without
to
any.
me is the grossest part. Is
Yep.
this is all, and Sebastian once again is lost in all of this, and it's just sickening.
And to those,
Absolutely sickening.
it's because they didn't want logical pushback, such as you can't use truth serum. But to
Right.
those that are saying how everybody made Sebastian a backseat, listen, his father
Mm-mm.
and his intelligence, quote unquote, intelligence team put this out. Okay? They did this.
Well, and I can have an opinion
There is
on Sebastian's father going to court not once but twice over his grandparents and his mother and stepfather being attacked, and he's going to stand next to a woman that called him defective, that said that his mother, harmed him, pickle bags, all of it, and you're going to stand beside that. I can have an opinion on that. I can.
right.
I can have an opinion. This isn't, North Korea, baby. It's United States, honey.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like you don't have to like our opinion. And I've already explained 1,000 times over the difference between an opinion and where you get into defamation. Me
Right.
saying, Exhibit 35 saying that I called Joseph Lasniak corrupt. I'm allowed to hold the opinion I believe he's corrupt. Now, if I
Right.
say I believe he's corrupt because, and I add this story on like, oh, 5 women at a supermarket, blah, 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 that's where it becomes defamatory. That's the
Correct.
difference between an opinion and defamation.
Correct. So we can have opinions, and I'm not gonna. I don't care. I mean, I can have an opinion. Everybody can have an opinion, and people can have an opinion about me. It's fine.
But I'll
It's
tell
like
you what.
Wienerhead. Wienerhead has an opinion about me and my imaginary grandchildren.
Right.
That's fine. You can have an opinion. Just don't lie on me, because then
That's
I'll
what I was
correct
about to
your lie.
say.
I don't lie on me.
And if you are going to try to take away my opinion, or in the words of Betty, opinion, whatever she says, if you're going to try to take away mine while actively defaming me, you got a
Right.
bigger issue now.
Right.
Melanie, welcome. And that's the problem. She personally speaks about everybody, and if anybody responds, they're now endangering her. That's a fucking issue that everybody on YouTube should take.
Yep.
Stop poking a bear and then crying when they fucking look your way.
Yep. And y'all have never seen True Roro, so I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, and here's the other
It's
thing,
bad.
right?
It's real bad.
For these people that are saying keep YouTube on YouTube, yet they're out here, they're doing FOIA requests. And then I heard somebody literally crying at the idea that a FOIA was done on them. Yeah, for litigation. Let me tell you something. If I want to look up somebody's fucking address, if I want to look up their relatives, if I want to look up who I'm dealing with, I can do that. Where you can take problem or issue with that is if I put it publicly. Okay.
Yep.
If I don't put this shit publicly, it's not first off, it's not I love when people who dox, who take information, personal information about people and put it public, and they say, well, it's public record, right? Like you can look this up, so therefore it's public. But then they find out, these same people find out you did the same thing in private, and they want to cry dox. Nah,
Right.
bitch, it's public record.
No. And there's certain weirdos on here that if they were if they had their eyes on me, trust and believe, I'd know everything about you, including your DNA. I wouldn't put it out.
Right,
But
that's
that
what I'm
way,
saying.
if anything happens, yeah, I'm gonna know where to find you.
I know who I'm dealing with. I have a right when people start, going at me, and especially if they're going at me daily, I have a right to know who I'm dealing with. Absolutely.
Yep. Yep. And everybody
Exactly,
that
Ross.
everybody feels that way. It's not just a me or you thing. It's like everybody. It's like if I had a weirdo neighbor, well, I've had a weirdo neighbor. Trust and believe,
Yes.
I knew everything about him. Yeah, I knew his house wasn't in his name, his utilities wasn't in his name, his car
Uh-huh.
tax wasn't in his name. He didn't have mail delivered. Needless to say, when the Secret Service and the FBI came and took him away and ended up demolishing his house down
Mm-hmm.
to the slab. He had some. Yeah, he's in a special kind of prison. So yeah, I knew all about him. Sure did, because he lived
Right.
next door to me. Sure did.
You have a
Yeah.
right. We have a right to
Mhm.
know. I mean, again, that's why it is public documents. But again, it's not. They're very. I love the idea that this injunction says we were doxing people, but yet Lasniak himself tweeted out the definition of doxing, which never happened. I've never come on here and actually physically, even by YouTube terms of doxing, I have never publicly doxed.
Yep.
And if I decided to, so what? You think I have to live up to YouTube's rules of what, when these people have crossed every fucking bounds there are? I'm still
Yeah.
supposed to keep my moral line? Because if not, what? You
Yeah.
people are fucking going real life with lawsuits. You're FOIA requesting shit. You're posting people's houses. You're going after people's fucking kids. But yet we're
Yep.
supposed to keep our integrity intact?
No, you're supposed to say, "Can I have another, please?" Can I have
And
another
another.
spoonful of shit, please? And then you say something, and then everybody just blows up. And well, she shouldn't have said that. What? Don't poke the bear. The
Right.
bear will swat back. And I don't agree. And I don't agree with anybody 100%. Not even my real life husband,
Right.
child, family, neighbors, parents. There's not a person that has ever walked this planet that I've ever said I agree with you 100%. I've never yes, I disagree with people, but it is what it is. But you're going to get through it. I'm glad you've got a good attorney. I'm glad that um, barbecue has gone forward with this. I'm glad
Yeah.
that
He has
the
a
community has
fantastic
stood
attorney.
behind y'all. And for us 50 some odd names that were thrown in there, you know, um,
Stand
I,
by.
we
I'll tell you
appreciate
that.
it. We appreciate it. So I
Yep.
appreciate it from me personally. I do.
And the up to 50 of you all will absolutely have your day as well. Your name
Thank you.
being thrown in there wasn't done in vain. You will have
Hope you
your
spell
day.
my name correctly, though.
Yeah, please. If you're gonna implicate somebody into a crime, at least spell their name correctly. Just
Mm-hmm.
like they said, burnt toast was burnt now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's it's just craziness.
Do you
So
know how many times I said that quote, May May? It's like I swear, it's like she just, whatever. Even like this, even though she is part of this injunction, even no, I don't. Name one thing that was slanderous. I'll wait for you, Cheryl. I'll even drop a link for you. You tell me one thing I said that falls under slander, and I'll tell you if you're right or not. Um, every time I speak about this litigation you threw me into doesn't mean I'm directly speaking about you. Like the weird, just because you are so consumed by me doesn't mean my days are consumed by you. Please.
and that's the difference. I wish people would know the difference between slander
Yes,
and an opinion.
I've
And I can
tried.
have an opinion based on public words.
Mm-hmm.
I can have an opinion. I don't have to like anybody nor support anybody just because they have a missing child.
Right.
Can I show some grace? Yes. Can I show some restraint? Sure. But I can still have my opinion.
Right. And here's the other thing, right? For example, they state that I lied on my stream when I said, and I quote, Seth Rogers himself stated the courts labeled him borderline abusive. They put that in their filing as me defaming Seth because they followed up with they can't find any documents of any court records with Seth that states that. But then I play Seth Rogers himself literally saying it.
Right.
He said it.
Right.
That's not slander. And if it's a lie, then he fucking lied to the public. So again, ask
Right.
yourselves why.
Right. If I have an opinion on his words and his words were a lie, that doesn't fall on me.
Right.
You know that if if I have an opinion on those words, it, am I going to dig into court papers and see if every word that he said is truthful? Nope,
No.
sure not. Not going to do it, But if it's his own words and I'm repeating his words, and that's the problem with a lot of this. It's like, um, BJ said, so, oh, she said the other day that I'm the one that started the Chili's rumor.
Right.
No, baby.
Yep.
No, Betty said that, and we had to go pull the clip. But it's like they don't. Well, I never watch. Well, maybe you should before you speak.
That's it. Maybe you should be, because now what they have claimed to be you defaming somebody, they actually defamed you by
Right.
stating that you defamed them. I mean, it's quite
Right.
ironic.
Right. So
It's
don't
quite
call me a
fucking.
liar.
You know
Don't
the
call
other
me.
big. Sorry.
If I do, I've come on here and apologized to people. I've taken accountability. I've whatever, and then I keep it moving. You can either accept it or not, but
Fact.
you're not going to sit there and call me a liar without me correcting your lie.
Right.
That's not coming after you. That's another thing.
Right, that's called a response. If you don't want people to respond, then stop poking, stop speaking. Another quote they have in this filing is that I undermined Seth's trauma from his divorce by saying, it's been 8 years, bro, get therapy. That's literally what, do you hear me, Shirley? If I've slandered Seth all over and I defamed him all over, then tell me why two of the biggest things they have against me in there is, one, that Seth Rogers himself stated that the courts labeled him borderline abusive, which came directly from Seth Rogers' mouth, and two, that I said, it's been 8 years, bro, get therapy. That's not even sue-worthy. The other thing,
and in fact, that's kind of compassionate, where it's like anybody can tell that he hasn't gotten over it, and you might need to go talk to somebody, because he sat there and talked about looking at his wedding pictures. Look, my dad, neither one of my parents have their wedding pictures. I do, but yeah, I stopped my mom from burning them, and my dad didn't want them. So yeah, I mean, 8 years later, they didn't, and that's an opinion. That's like, hey, you need to. That's not malicious. Like, you need to go talk to somebody. Sometimes misdirected anger. Work through the process. Divorce, friendship, death.
It was solid
loss
advice.
of a job, loss of health. That's all loss.
Right.
And the same 5 stages of grief, whether it's a loss of a loved one or a job and a career, that's lost, and you follow the 5 stages of grief, and you work through those 5 stages.
I mean, regardless, the biggest thing being that's not litigation worthy statement. It's just not. It's not. And Scout says here, they made it seem like you were calling him a P word. Yeah, ask them to produce the evidence of that. I've never stated that Seth Rogers is a P word.
I've never, and the ones that have, I don't see their name.
Right, exactly. So ask where in their exhibits that weren't attached to their filing, that can only be found on their personal website, which brings traction and attention to their website. Ask them why that wasn't included in their exhibits. Ask them where all their exhibits are of their claims against me. No, I didn't. Tell me when, where. Play it. Show me it. Where did I say it, Shirley?
Where, Shirley? Where?
I'll wait. I'll
hop down, and I'm not coming at your neck.
Oh, I am.
Seriously, I mean, where? I would love to know where.
Right. And the fact that Shirley's in here saying that because they said it goes further to my counterclaim that they have defamed me by stating I made these defamatory statements in which I haven't.
There you go. Screenshot that. There you go. There's some more evidence that now you've got a community believing that people are actually believing this. See, There you go.
Exactly.
Thank you, Shirley.
They don't realize they do this every time they come over and they take something that was defamatory stated about me and they say it as factual to me.
Right.
They don't realize that they validate everything I'm saying.
Right. And you can use every single bit of that as your evidence of, hey, yes, this is now what a community on YouTube thinks of me. There you go.
It's a harm to my reputation and my character in general.
Yep.
Right. Well, because nobody who really they may have had footing with is in the filing because they don't have the reach in their states. Unfortunately, with me, I was Pennsylvania, and the reason they attached me with
Yeah.
barbecue is because RICO is 9 out of 10 times surely to get headlines, and they were seeking headlines with it. They reached out to many news organizations. Only one took the bite, but even they wouldn't call it RICO.
Yeah. Well, I've got to hop down. Just know that when the marching band comes, I'll be the fat one playing the cymbals. So look for me because I
We'll
like
keep
to
our eye out.
bang, bang, and be loud. So, all right. Well, I got to head off to a doctor's appointment. Y'all have a good day.
You as
And
well.
again, thank you so much, Granny, and thank you to the community for supporting, all the fuckery that goes on for Queen, for barbecue, for Granny.
For
And
all of
I
us,
don't
yeah.
think this is going to end. I
Nope.
don't think this is going to end. And if you can't give, I tell everybody, if you can't, times are hard, finances, Christmas and after Christmas and all the things, showing up in chats, hitting that like button,
Yeah.
popping in and saying, hey, I'm here, I'm listening, because not everybody can chat. You might be at work, you might be whatever, just a show of support, throwing an email every now and then and say, hey, I know it sucks, but, we got you. Those little things can mean a lot
Right.
when you're having a bad day because, Granny is not a granny, I don't think, according to her age. She's not a granny.
No.
Barbecue is not, a piece of barbecue laying on a grill, and Queen is not a bee. They're real
Right.
people, and we're all real people. And put yourself in their spot, Shirley.
Absolutely.
Would you want these things said about you, Shirley? Just asking for, a couple thousand people.
Well,
But
Charlie's silly because she
yeah,
says here, no, Jay, you and I had an argument over that, and you hate Seth because he's fat, remember? And this was months ago. Shirley, I never stated I hate Seth because he's fat. Now, if you're saying that I've defamed Seth by calling him fat, I beg to differ. That is not defamation, that pointing out somebody is obese. It may not be nice, but it's not
right.
defamatory. Secondly, I've never argued over whether Seth is a P word or not. People come to their own conclusions based off what Seth Rogers himself has put out here. Now, what you're saying is that I've directly called him that word, and I'm asking you to prove where, because it never happens. Knowing that somebody else says every night that I call somebody the P word is exactly why that person is personally being sold out in a fucking countersuit. Do you want to be at it, Shirley? Surely you could.
So, okay, so calling somebody fat is now legally wrong. Okay, all right.
Sue
So,
worthy?
okay, so it, would it be legally wrong to do ageism against somebody because uh, Brittany J thought I was old enough to be her grandmother?
Right. Right.
I'm in my 50s. I'm not old enough to be her grandmother, or was I a whore at age 7? Because see how that works.
Right.
Um,
Right.
not that I have imaginary grandchildren, because then she finally got the clue that I wasn't old enough to be her grandmother. But she said that. So is that, should I be outraged and be all the things because she thinks I'm that old?
Well, I
What?
guess you could sue over it,
Yeah, I
perhaps.
guess I could.
These people think it's too worthy.
Yeah, I'm emotionally distraught over that.
Stupid. These people are
Yeah.
stupid.
So
Honestly, stupid.
and I'm sorry, if you're obese, you're obese. It is what it is. Like I said, people can have a damn opinion.
Right.
You can look at my haircut and go, "Damn, bitch, that is ugly." Okay, and you
Right.
know,
And Steph's out here calling people fat. Like, fat is not sue worthy. It might hurt your feelings, but you can't
right,
sue over it.
right,
And you don't get to make up that I call somebody. You have to prove I call somebody. The quote is a murderous P word. Prove that. Prove that I ever stated Seth Rogers and then include it. I'm not even going to give you a chance to clip me right now, motherfuckers. Prove I ever put those two things together with his name and stated that as a matter of fact, because you can't.
I've never talked about his weight, not one time, not
I've talked about
one
his
single
weight.
time.
I did, but I certainly never said, oh, I hate him because he's fat. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. I don't hate people because they're fat.
Well, I don't hate Seth Rogers. I don't hate. I dislike what he's doing to his son. I don't understand it.
Right.
but I don't hate him. I don't know him. And that's another thing. People say, hate, hate, hate. You have to love somebody to hate somebody. You know what I mean? Like hate is
Well,
such a
no,
strong,
because
to me,
I
to
disagree
me.
with that, because there's people I hate that I've never loved.
Well, that's
For
true.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
I
just,
get what you're saying. Like, to
you know
have
what I
that
mean?
emotion. I don't hate Seth Rogers either. I find his behaviors to be despicable. That's all. I don't hate
Yeah.
him.
I worry about Sebastian coming home and him having to answer everything that he's done.
Right.
That's who I worry about is Sebastian having, and I pray to God he isn't seeing what his dad is doing. I pray to God, him and Uncle Tony and Aunt Betty and
All the other weird
cousin
shit.
BJ and all the weirdos that are talking about all the things. I can't imagine facing my child and having to explain why I put every bit of personal information that should have never ever been known to anybody, much less a platform, and I don't even repeat it. We've all
Right.
heard him what he says, because I won't repeat it. If I don't like him saying it, why am I going to repeat it?
Right. And
And
I want to read this really quick, because this came directly from somebody who knows the law. Try 2 filings, the injunction and complaint, the shotgun nature of the drivel they filed, the 300 plus paragraph affirmance that lack merit, and then the fact that attorney or attorneys need to deal with these lunatics harassing their offices, etc. That would cause more hesitation or raise the price fee of an attorney to represent you, more so than the collab of dog being on there, because somebody stated that just dog being on the filing would make the cost be more. This is coming from somebody that is an attorney that is saying no. The fact that they filed, 2 filings, the injunction and complaint, the shotgun nature of the drivel they filed, the 300 plus paragraph advertisements that lack merit, and then the fact that the attorney or attorneys need to deal with these lunatics harassing their offices, etc. Then they said the attorney should have read the case law or civil RICO and learned what constitutes a case of civil RICO, because in no manner did they or can they make out any element. They cannot make out an enterprise to begin with. Should never have signed his name to this. Talking about Lesniak.
yep.
And then, even if it was defamatory, calling a skinny guy fat, what are the damages to one's reputation? None. People constantly miss the damages aspect of such a claim unless the statement fits into per se category. Like, it is per se damnatory to my reputation, that it's damaging to my reputation to allege that I am part of a RICO organization because I hurt your feelings. But calling somebody, even if I called a skinny person fat or a fat person fat, what is the great point? What's the damages to one's reputation on that?
Right. You're not talking about somebody that's made an empire out of,
Being
Richard
skinny and
Simmons
healthy.
bodybuilding and all the
Right.
things, and then, then you're like, you're fat. It's like it's
Right.
3rd grade, man. It's like, I called you fat. No, I called you. Oh my God. It's just this is, yeah, this is a lot.
I love
But
this one. Yeah, you got me, Winter Wonderland. You people still can't prove any basis for that either, but got me. And here you go again. You will look great in orange or stripes. And girl, what was that? Stop taking those drugs. So now you're accusing me of being a drug addict and facing jail time. Thank you, Winter Wonderland, for
there you go.
adding to the defamation. You people keep going. I love it. I
Yep.
love it. You're so
That's
mad. They're so mad at the reality that this, despite you all hoping and wishing I was facing 20 years in jail and going to be financially drained through this litigation and held accountable because you don't fucking like me, you're so mad that the law is what the law is and that there's no merit. Sorry, can't help you.
Have you ever gone into a chat and said, "Hey, BJ, you'll look good in orange. I want you locked
Never.
up for 20 years." Exactly.
Never.
I want you completely financially ruined and everything taken from you. No. But do you need to be taught a lesson? Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It's mind blowing. It's just, but I love it when people just show you who they are.
They do, because again, these people aren't thinking off of anything except for emotions. They don't think
Yep.
logically. You guys are
Well,
so unbalanced, mentally unbalanced, that you are incapable of looking at things from a logical perspective because you don't have the capabilities to control your own emotions. It's pathetic. You're adults. Get fucking, you know what? Get therapy, bro. How about that?
Yep.
Ah,
All right. Well, I'm gonna be late. Y'all have a good day, and just
thank you,
try 10
Rowena.
minutes a day, Granny. 10 minutes a day.
I'm trying. Thank
Whatever.
you.
No, don't try. You got to do it. Don't no, no, not try. 10 minutes a day. I don't care what it is. So
Thank you.
do you want me to send you some little Big Deborah brownies, honey?
No, no.
I'll send you some. I
Thank
had one
you.
for breakfast, baby. I
Oh,
got
man.
tired of Christmas fudge. So, all right. Well, y'all have a good day, and
You
try
as
to
well.
just take a deep breath. And thank you to everybody. All right. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. No, you're right. Who said this up here? Repercussions. Oh, yeah. Do you know the possible repercussions for adding an attorney's name to the filing when they claim no involvement? I wonder. That's a good one. That is a good question because I do believe there will be some. What would I do? It's not even just about her. Like I know a lot of people are angry because let me remove your opinion. Sorry. I know a lot of people are angry because she's one of like the loudest ones and her declarations were so full of BS and she keeps going. But for me, I don't even want this. It's not just about her. It is honestly about, let me go ahead and read them all again for you. The amount of people that are on this filing is ridiculous, including the tacos. I mean, that's the unfortunate fact. I know they've removed themselves from it, but their declarations were still used all over YouTube to further their and bolster their claims of fucking RICO. It was still there. So, good on them for backing out now, but at the end of the day, they're still part of it. So let's see. We have At Night Media, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Seth Rogers, Tony Mathis, Andrea Griffin, Brittany Jackson, Christina O'Donnelly, Julia Fellatine, Hong, whatever his last name is, and then Nick, who had to put himself as Nick, quote, the Hat, has the Frassa. Whatever you say his name. They're all the ones they're all going to be held accountable, not just Brittany. Sanctions, disciplinary actions. That is what they could possibly be looking at. Sanctions and disciplinary actions. Oh. So there's actually a clause. It's a 1023, which I did show you all before. Which basically, Castor would have to speak against Lasniak when they accused September 8th. I don't particularly remember that date. What a stellar group of people, right? Hey, Sophia. And thank you guys so much. I did see a Venmo. Courtney, thank you so much. And Renee, thank you. More because none of the others are continuing to spread lies on Granny Daly. You're right, May. You're right. And not just me, but she does it on Queen. She does it on everybody. And somebody did state above that the whole weight thing came up because they were saying how much weight Katie gained. And quite frankly, they've all gained weight. But a lot of people do gain weight during traumatic experiences. So, this whole idea of oh, it's okay to say this against the Proudfoots, but not against Seth. Or, oh, it's okay to say this against Seth, but not against the Proudfoots. At the end of the day, they are all suspects, okay? They are all involved in Sebastian's life. They could all be guilty. They can all be innocent. We don't know. We're not here to determine that. We have a right to innocent until proven guilty. And I'm telling you, I will be proven innocent in a courtroom against the fallacies of this fucking bullshit ass, in my opinion, declarations and injunction. So they have now till a certain date to respond. We are seeking out oral arguments immediately where they have to come in and prove that they hold weight to their RICO accusations. They have to prove, and I'm telling you right now, think what you will about me, they will never be able to prove RICO because I'm not involved in a fucking RICO. Okay? So that they will never prove. And your little hurt feelings or your little fantasies or the fact that you watch too much fucking police TV shows will never validate that for you, no matter how much you try it to be. It simply ain't true. How many days do they have to respond? They have to respond by the 20th of January. And they have to respond a little bit sooner because of barbecue. So basically they have between, I think it's the 15th and the 20th to respond. Hopefully the courts will then issue a court hearing. I don't know yet if we're going to demand that everybody be at oral arguments. If it was solely up to me, I would say yes. I want every single plaintiff who has put in a signature to be at the hearing. But I don't ultimately have that say, so we'll see. I know I'll be there. Without a doubt. You don't get away with just accusing me of shit like this. You know you have made it when you were in a lawsuit against tacos. Oh, who would have thought that they'd be the smart ones to get out, though? Honest to God. Who would have thought they'd be the smart ones to run? Thank you, Wee. It's good to see you. Everybody thinks of the mafia, and that's what they wanted you all to think. They want you all to believe that we are working underneath the Proudfoots that they have deemed to be so criminal in aspect and so powerful. It baffles me, especially when you've heard me say 1,000 times, I don't even like them. But people only hear what they want to hear. They are emotionally driven because that is what they have done. They have absolutely created this quote-unquote teams based off emotions, and they keep doing it because they don't want you all to see that we all have the same common goal, which is to bring Sebastian home. And if that means arresting the Proudfoots, then by all means, go arrest them. If that means arresting Seth Rogers, by all means, go arrest them. I'm not emotionally attached to either of these parents. I don't give a shit what any side has to say about it. The main fact is Sebastian and bringing him home and or finding solution. So Castor's name is on that, and he's affirming he's read it and has some basis. This case has zero basis on the claims made. He himself stated in a video he would recommend legal action when he had Dog on his show. Then he sees what's been drafted and knows he would never make these claims. Then this pivots to Lasniak to say I did or didn't have Castor's authorization. So great question. And that's the answer. I agree, Deanna. Thank you, Goody Two Shoes. I agree 100%, Deanna. If we didn't live in the states we lived in, no, I will not. Unfortunately, I will not. Hey, Regina, good morning to you. BHB was one who started bashing Katie and Chris about them gaining weight, saying she was a bit worried because all she does is feed her face. Justin is not on the list. Justin and Josh were smart enough not to get in on this grand idea of accusing us of RICO. Yeah. So this person's right. Castor was on, was it News Nation with Vinnie Politan? Castor was sitting next to Dog. And he did say he would recommend legal action. So yeah, there's arguments to be made there. So Seth is suing Chris because of what he said about how Sebastian was really named, or because of what he said during the search with Crabtree. No. I don't think Seth is suing Chris at all. I saw that At Night is now claiming they're going to take out legal action against Chris Proudfoot because Chris Proudfoot stated that Dog never reached out to him. And then they go on to show messages where Chris himself says, Nick and Dog's high risk whatever, which proves further that it wasn't Dog he was speaking with. He was speaking with Nick on the basis of being part of Dog's high risk fugitive team or whatever they said. You know what I mean? So again, by posting their own messages, they prove that Chris did not believe he was talking to Dog. So you can't sue him on the basis that he said Dog has never reached out to him directly, because your own messages prove that he didn't think he was talking to Dog. So even if you claim it was Dog on the other end of those messages, it wouldn't matter. What matters is if he made a defamatory statement knowing it was defamatory. And his own text proved that he didn't think he was talking to Dog. This is what I mean. These people talk about legalities without looking at what they're fucking saying. Doesn't even make sense. The whole basis behind the defamation is that it was stated knowingly that it was false. Right, and then what are the damages? They're saying this damages their credibility. Hello, posting you received satellite footage from a satellite company that doesn't have satellites in the sky already damaged your credibility. People don't want any accountability for their own fucking stupidity anymore. You know what I mean? Oh, Chris saying dog never reached out to him undermines our credibility. Yeah, not the fucking company you keep. That doesn't do it. And a lawsuit can't hang on whether or not a phone call was made. Good Lord. Right. Just stop. Why are these people normalizing this litigation anyway? Go play fucking court and I mean, hell, how about Chris sue for the fact that you're on national news accusing him of murder? How about when Seth Rogers was on national news and stated Katie never loved her son? How about when you're on national news telling everybody that you have the right under a citizen's arrest law to break in doors? Which was a gross. Anybody who believed what he said on the fact that he is dogged a bounty hunter and people find him, ironically, to be credible, now believes that under the U.S. citizen's arrest law, they can kick in fucking doors. You have a lot more to worry about than if Chris Proudfoot said he spoke to dog or not. Holy shit. You have bigger issues, my friends. I don't think getting yourselves involved in another baseless litigation is the right answer. Fucking fools, man. I mean, this guy always wants to reference poker games and shit. Maybe you should know when to fold. Because your bluff has been called a long time ago. Everybody else has their cards on the table. It's time to give up your hand and show everybody that you had nothing more than a fucking joker. How do you like that for an analogy? That weird ass, I go to a waiter and there's a bug in the water. What the hell are you even talking about? Baffling the amount of word salad people lick up and eat up and they're like, oh, you're so smart. And then they're at it again. They are at it again. Just when you think it can't get any worse, they're at it again by claiming satellite footage from a company that does not even have satellites. And on that, my friends, I rest my case. I will see them in Pennsylvania courtroom. Thank you all so much for being with me today. Thank you for being with me every day. Your support has been, honestly, it has spared me having to sign a deal with the devils, and I cannot thank you enough for that. I appreciate each and every one of you. Even you hate viewers are very much appreciated. You keep me going every day. It's more than I think I can ever express to any of you. Yeah, and for people that say I'm botting, this poll right here has 1,107 votes, which tells me that when I was at the top viewership of almost 1,400, only about 300 of you were hate viewing, which is a pretty good statistic number. Which is why these bitches are out here losing their mind trying to get a taste of granny. Granny. It's so funny. Pathetic. I'll tell you, it's pathetic. Anyway, seriously, thank you for the warm miles in the chat. You guys really are amazing. And I might be doing a big members only. I've been debating it. I'm going to speak to an attorney and see if they think it's okay idea to do. There's a few things I want to get off my chest, so if you haven't, please consider hitting the thumbs up. And let me go ahead and leave this on a note that others that claim to love this child don't ever seem to do. And remind you all that Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is still out there somewhere. Shit, the video's not uploaded on here. Hold on. I'll have to play a video of my video because I had to switch my StreamYard. But yeah, there's still a missing child out here named Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He unfortunately has not been seen in a very long time. It has been clarified from TBI that Sebastian was seen, or last known to be seen, on the 26th of February, which means he did not disappear on the 25th if they say there was a confirmed sighting of him on the 26th. I am now at this point just talking so I can pull up this video for all of you and leave out on the note that it should be, and hopefully we'll get back to being, which is, where is Sebastian Rogers? Oh, look what I just found. There's some interesting things over here, I'll tell you that. All right, I I had to switch StreamYard because of their pricing, so I went under a different name. But anyway, here it's the best I can do is play a video of my video, but the heck? All right, let's go over to here and play it this way. Thank you guys for being here with me. It really means a lot. It's just me. It's good to see you in the chat. It's good to see a lot of you. As always, Purple Dragon, I didn't say good morning to you. And yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic Friday. We are going to go see the new Sonic. He's very excited about that. But yeah, I will see you all in another chat. Thank you for being here. Sebastian, as you continue your day today. On February 26, 2024, an Amber Alert went out for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian is white, 5'5", 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Sebastian was last seen wearing a black long-sleeve shirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. He has a medical condition that may impair his ability to return safely without assistance. If you have seen Sebastian or have information regarding his whereabouts, please contact the Sumner County Emergency Center or TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Let's take this moment to pray for Sebastian's safe return.